The bill will soon be transmitted to the President for his assent. I have one respectful request of President Mahama. Mr. President, do not assent to this bill. Pause and let the nation ponder and deliberate on this very important matter. This is not a partisan request. The Trades Union Congress, the voice of millions of Ghanaian workers, has called for the bill to be withdrawn altogether, warning that in its current form, it could become a potent tool for weaponizing justice delivery.
This documentary will now give you a good view of how the public tribunal system looked like. You can now see journalist Ben Efson covering proceedings in the public tribunal system. Here is John Ajekum Kufuor, Kakra Isamoah, who used to be with the MPP but now the NDC, and lawyer John Indebogere, as well as Dr. Kwame Safwedu, a former presidential candidate of the NPP, and of course, former Attorney General Madame Gloria Ekufu. Here is the scene as crowds cheer whilst accused persons, the late Professor Edu Boahen and journalist Kwesi Pratt Jr. are brought in to answer their charges. Here is Professor Edu Boahen's opening statement.
I believe this was said for was to invite me here to give evidence as a witness. And as the charge shooting the issue, I refuse on that basis. And if I'm brought in the same way, now accused, place me how I am so I cannot speak. For the reasons which I set up in my letter to the chair of the National Tribunal, I do not accept the authority of this court, of this tribunal. I stand by the terms of my letter. Indeed, the present situation confirms the strength of my allegations that these tribunals are instruments for the persecution of political opponents of the PNPC government. It is well known, both the government and the security agencies, that I had no connection whatsoever with the bomb throwing incident.
Kwesi Pratt also mounted the stage in classic fashion, and this was 1992, 34 years ago.
I can't report a tribunal as a journalist.
Sir, the latest says, don't let us put the horse before the cart. As we explained to the professor, and what we are doing here is based on procedure and law. And we just don't do things at random.
Now, the second one is that I am deeply convinced that the state is not interested in the enforcement of law generally in this country. And that have been brought before this court because you are opponents of the government, and the government wants to use these issues to be legitimized. And there is evidence to that effect. PNDC members are committed murder because any murder, which is a gruesome crime, goes unpunished in this country because you know that the person is associated with the PNDC. And there's a case in 1983 where the PNDC member picked up a rifle and shot 6 people dead. The case was reported to the chairman of the PNDC, and he did not find necessary to enforce the law. Now, why is the state interested in enforcing the law when it comes to a simple question of obstruction of the traffic? When panel members of the tribunal themselves have publicly admitted that the state is government interference in the affairs of the tribunal.
About the panel that tries cases in the tribunal, this is how it works. The tribunal often has 3 members, with only one of them being a lawyer. Here is a video example of how the public tribunal system used to work in those days.
In relation to his client, application is granted. PW10 is recalled at the instance of prosecution in terms of their application. Full reasons for this shall be embodied in the final judgment in the case. PW10 is recalled.
Maybe Dr. Bawumia has a case in asking President Mahama to abandon this course.
The answer to congested courts is to strengthen the courts, more judges, more courtrooms, and digitize processes. It is not to build a second system of justice. Mr. President, your government commands one of the largest majorities in the history of the Fourth Republic. With such numbers, Parliament can pass almost any bill it wishes. Not everything that can be passed should be passed. The larger the majority, the greater the duty of restraint.
But also, recently, pollster Musa Dankwa has conducted a poll in which he says many Ghanaians are expecting the public tribunals to work and that many Ghanaians are happy about the return of the public tribunal. What do you think?
When you ask me what is your bad day, it's the day my mom died and the day former President Mahama destroyed my company. When you ask me what is your bad day, it's the day my mom died and the day former President Mahama destroyed my company. I said, me, President Mahama, want to talk to me about what? He said, yes, you are invited to the castle to meet him. The time I reached there, all my company documents and everything was there.
Was in front of the president?
It's in front of him. You know, so that type of relative was there, and there was a guy.
Beblo Latte, then National Security Coordinator.
Yes, was there, and then his brother.
Which brother?
Peter Mahama was there.
Peter, yeah.
And the one they look alike, Alfred,
yeah.
Alfred Mahama was there, and some few people was there. Then he asked me, young man, how did you get all this money? I have all your documents. And I said,
how did you get all this money?
Yeah. Because all my documents. So he said, tell me the truth. And I said, I have nothing to hide. You know, for you to be small or big, you know, you have to work. So my work, the job that I do is a mining. I have a legitimate concession called Hansol and Akunta mining. So this is my document, and I have expatriates that they also work for me, and yeah. So he started opening. So he asked me, okay, tell me about mining. So I told him mining is not a bad thing. Every country need a mining. If you have the resources, you need it to develop here, but you have to regularize it or make a good policy for it. But to me, I have a legitimate lances they have signed for me. This is my lances. So he see everything through. Then he said, oh, this guy, you are too smart. So he touched me on the June 2013 June.
How did this conversation end before he touched you? This Tamale conversation, how did it end?
He to NDC to support me, and then I said to him,
you're speaking on the national platform. President Mahama,
I'm saying it because the time,
or his people are listening.
Listen, the time
you have to be sure that what you are saying is correct.
I will never lie. One to me will never lie, and he knows. The time I went there, I went there with now he's a Bosonchi MPP chairman. You know, he was following me that time. Anywhere I go, he's the person. So I went there with him. Why
in Tamale did this meeting happen?
The residency.
Oh, the original minister's residence.
Yes, the residency. That's the place.
That's why usually the presidents go when they go to Tamale.
Yeah. No, he cannot say he didn't meet me. He cannot.
No, but did he tell you that you should come and support the NDC?
Oh yes, of course. It's normal. It's normal to tell the businessman if he have money, you know, to say, come and support me.
Okay. So what did you say to that before the meeting ended?
I said to him, to me, I see politics as a religion, the place I come from. You know, even if you have money, you know, even if you have power, and you have money, and you don't belong to MPP, you know, it's very dangerous.
The problem is not only about the royalties, and I think we should think beyond that and help ourselves. We have foreign investors who have large-scale companies, and we also have local companies who also own large-scale companies.
When you ask me what is your bad day, it's the day my mom died and the day former President Mahama destroyed my company.
All the New Patriotic Party, we've attempted as much as possible to get Hogg Batidankwa to share.
The history of the PNDC rule in Ghana cannot be told without the mention of the public tribunal system. The tribunal system was the main platform on which cases of a criminal nature were tried, and sometimes cases involving political opponents. This system was used, and many feel that it was actually overused and sometimes abused during the PNDC era. Under the Fourth Republic, the Consultative Assembly, which drew the 1992 Constitution, managed to keep the public tribunals in the Constitution by Article 142, which established the public tribunals, and Article 143, which grants jurisdiction to the public tribunals to try matters on so-called public interest. However, all the presidents and parliaments of the Fourth Republic have refused to apply the public tribunal system in Article 142 and 143. First, J.J. Rawlings, who presided over the PNDC, refused to apply it during his two-term presidency. John Agyekum Kufuor, who visited the public tribunals and became president for 2 terms, also refused to apply it. Professor John Evans Atta Mills and President Mahama's first term also both refused to do it. Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, who has historically been against the public tribunals, also expectedly refused to do it. But on 17th July 2026, the 9th Parliament of the 4th Republic passed a bill to bring the public tribunals into being. Soon after the bill was passed, some members of civil society, and especially the former vice president, who is also the presidential candidate of the opposition MPP, have called on President Mahama not to accent the bill.
I speak to you on a matter that has the potential to reshape our justice delivery system, confidence in our judiciary, and the future of our democracy altogether. The attempt to reintroduce tribunals into Ghana's judicial system. Last week, Parliament passed the Tribunals Bill 2026. The mandatory one-day interval between the consideration stage and the third reading was waived so that the bill could be passed on the same day. The minority's objections were voted down. Organized labor objected loudly and publicly, but was ignored. The bill will soon be transmitted to the President for his assent. I have one respectful request of President Mahama. Mr. President, do not assent to this bill. Pause and let the nation ponder and deliberate on this very important matter. This is not a partisan request. The Trades Union Congress, the voice of millions of Ghanaian workers, has called for the bill to be withdrawn altogether, warning that in its current form, it could become a potent tool for weaponizing justice delivery.
This documentary will now give you a good view of how the public tribunal system looked like. You can now see journalist Ben Efson covering proceedings in the public tribunal system. Here is John Agyekum Kufuor, Kakra Isamoah, who used to be with the MPP but now the NDC, and lawyer John Ndebogere, as well as Dr. Kwame Safwedu, a former presidential candidate of the NPP, and of course, former Attorney General Madame Gloria Ekufu. Here is the scene as crowds cheer whilst accused persons, the late Professor Adu Boahen and journalist Kwesi Pratt Jr. are brought in to answer their charges. Here's Professor Adu Boahen's opening statement.
I believe this same court was to invite me here to give evidence as a witness. And as the charge seeking the issue, I refuse on that basis. And if I'm brought in the same way, now accused, place me how I can live. So I cannot speak. For the reasons which I set out in my letter to the chair of the National Tribunal, I do not accept the authority of this tribunal. I stand by the terms of my letter. Indeed, the present situation confirms the strength of my allegations that these tribunals are instruments for the persecution of political opponents of the PNPC government. It is well known, both the government and the security agencies, that I had no connection whatsoever with the bomb throwing incident.
Kwesi Pratt also mounted the stage in classic fashion, and this was 1992, 34 years ago.
I can't report a tribunal as a journalist.
Sir, the greatest says, don't let us come to the post before the task. As we explained to the professor, and when we are sitting here, it's based on procedure and law. And you just don't do things at random.
Now, the second one is that I am deeply convinced that the state is not interested in the enforcement of law generally in this country, and that you have been dragged before this court because you are opponents of the government, and the government wants to use these issues to be legitimizers. And there is evidence to that effect. PNDC members are committed murder because any murder, which is a gruesome crime, goes unpunished in this country, because you know that the person is associated with the PNDC. And there's a case in 1983 where the PNDC member picked up a rifle and shot 6 people dead. The case was reported to the chairman of PNDC, and he did not find necessary to enforce the law. Now, why is the state interested in enforcing the law when it comes to a simple question of obstruction of the traffic? When panel members of the tribunal themselves have publicly admitted that the state is government interference in the affairs of the tribunal.
About the panel that tries cases in the tribunal, this is how it works. The tribunal often has 3 members, with only one of them being a lawyer. Here is a video example of how the public tribunal system used to work in those days.
In relation to his client, application is granted. PW10 is recalled at the instance of prosecution in terms of their application. Full reasons for this shall be embodied in the final judgment in the case. PW10 is recalled.
Maybe Dr. Bawumia has a case in asking President Mahama to abandon this course.
The answer to congested courts is to strengthen the courts, more judges, more courtrooms, and digitized processes. It is not to build a second system of justice. Mr. President, your government commands one of the largest majorities in the history of the Fourth Republic. With such numbers, Parliament can pass almost any bill it wishes. Not everything that can be passed should be passed. The larger the majority, the greater the duty of restraint.
But also, recently, pollster Musa Dankwa has conducted a poll in which he says many Ghanaians are expecting the public tribunals to work, and that many Ghanaians are happy about the return of the public tribunal. What do you think?
yerishishe odoma woman enwadeya odoma woman enwara na yerishishe odoma woman enwadeya odoma woman enwara na yerishishe odoma woman enwadeya. Ma omeyi musen yewe yasen na drinwa no pa area na bringina se wori bomba ya kaigana sufre unyanko pon fagana shenisa eno na uyo mambapa eno na uodo odo mauman eno arana yerishishe odo mauman eno aleya odo mauman eno arana yerishishe odo mauman eno aleya. Ma omeyi musen yewe yasem na drinwa no ba area na brenina se wori bomba ya kaigana sufre unyango bon fagana shenisa eno na uyo mambapa eno na uyo do mauman eno arana yerishishe odo mauman eno aleya odo mauman eno arana yerishishe odo mauman eno aleya odo mauman eno arana yerishishe odo mauman eno aleya odo mauman eno arana. Ma omeyi musen yewe yasen na drinwa no pa area na bringina se wori bomba ya kaigana sufre unyanko pon fagana shenisa eno na uyo mambapa eno na uodo mauman eno arana yerishishe odo mauman eno aleya odo mauman eno arana yerishishe odo mauman eno aleya. Ma omeyi musen yewe yasen na drinwa no pa area na brenina se wori bomba ya kaigana sufre unyanko pon fagana shenisa eno na uyo mambapa eno na uodo mauman eno arana yerishishe odo mauman eno aleya odo mauman eno arana yerishishe odo mauman eno aleya. Ma omeyi musen yewe yasen na drinwa no pa area na brenina se wori bomba ya kaigana sufre unyankopon fagana shenisa enuna uyo mambapa enuna uodo odo mauman enu arana yerishe odo mauman enu aneya odo mauman enu arana yerishe odo mauman enu ane ma omeyi musem yewe hiase na drinwa nopa eriana brenina sewuri bompa ya kaigana sufre unyankopon fagana shenisa enuna uyo mambapa enuna uodo odo mauman enu arana yerishe odo mauman enu aneya odo mauman enu arana yerishe odo mauman enu aneya. omenyi musem yewe hiase na drinwa nopa area na brenyina.
Told you to stop.
Aigana sufre unyankupon fakana shenisa enuna uyo mambapa enuna uodo odo mauman enu arana yerishishe odo mauman enu aneya odo mauman enu arana yerishishe odo mauman enu aneya.
Last one.
Odo mauman enu aneya odo mauman enu arana yerishishe odo mauman enu aneya odo mauman enu arana yerishishe odo mauman.
Good evening. Welcome. What a show we're going to have today. Everyone in Ghana is talking. 9 o'clock in the morning, the Court of Appeal had finished delivering a judgment, a landmark decision from the Court of Appeal that is going to serve as an authority for many things. Now, 2 hours after that, the learned Attorney General issued a statement that he, the Attorney General, has directed the Director of Public Prosecutions, the person at the Attorney General in charge of criminal procedures, to file an appeal at the Supreme Court against the Court of Appeal's decision. That made everyone concerned because the Attorney General said that his attention had been drawn to the matter of the Court of Appeal. Tonight, we're going to get you all the details. We're going to start our conversation, and I was talking to my lawyer producer. We are going to start the conversation from the High Court decision that convicted our sister Sedina Tamaklo, and then we'll build it up upon it. We'll give you a timeline of everything that has happened. Lawyer Jay Bafo is in the studio. He's going to talk to us about the law. There's been a lot of law today. Sedina Tamaklo was not even on the cards for radio and television productions today. It was not. It was about the constitutional amendment and the Attorney General's press conference and all of that. And tonight we're going to deal with the constitutional amendment. We'll deal particularly with one first to start with, which is the citizenship issue. And I have a bit to say about that, the citizenship issue. So they're saying that for those people who hold dual citizenship, they can now be members of parliament. The Council of State had advised against that when the matter went to them, but it's found its way heading to parliament as an entrenched clause, which will then come to the citizens for a total referendum. Also, the amendments are calling for a 5-year term of members of parliament and a 5-year term for the president. NDC apologists were quick to add that the 5-year term will not affect President John Dramani Mahama's current tenure of office, that if the amendment is approved by the Ghanaian public through a referendum, then it will take effect from 7 January 2029. What is going to happen? Will Ghanaians approve that our presidents now stay for 5 years and our parliaments also stay coterminously for 5 years instead of 4 years, so that a 2-term president will be a 10-year tenure? Is that what we want? Do we really want our president to stay that long? Imagine, in Ghana, if you look at the history of the Fourth Republic, none of our presidents who served 2 terms has ended on the note that is great. J.A. Kufuor, well, let me start with Flight Lieutenant Rawlings. When I say he hasn't ended on a note that is great, I'm not talking about my assertion. I'm talking about the general public. If you read online stories in January 2001, at the end of President Rawlings' tenure, you will find that Mr. Rawlings' popularity had sunk, and that accounted for the election. We often say that the election of the ruling party who has done 2 terms is usually a referendum on the outgoing president, even though he's not on the ballot. Because we are angry with him, we vote against the person who is coming from that party. The first time it happened was in 2000. Professor J.E.A. Mills did not win the ballot. John Agyekum Kufuor did. At that time, the popularity of Flight Lieutenant Rawlings was 0. Flight Lieutenant Rawlings had done 8 years in office. Today, we are asking for a constitutional provision that makes it 10 years. Would we, in 2001, have liked if Flight Lieutenant Rawlings was continuing to 2002? Move the conversation forward. John Agyekum Kufuor became president of Ghana in 2008. In 2001. By 2008, Mr. Kufuor was leaving. By the time Mr. Kufuor was leaving, the NDC had so damaged his image in terms of he's a cocaine dealer, MV Benjamin, his government people are thieves, and they have bank accounts abroad, very similar to the 2001 situation. So, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, who was President Kufuor's party candidate, lost the election by the skin of the teeth. It's still the closest elections that we have had in 2008, December 7th, December 28th, and for the first time, and hopefully it will be the last time, we voted on January 3rd or 4th in one constituency because the results were so close that one constituency could determine it. So the constituency whose election had been cancelled for technical reasons was restored so that a presidential vote can be taken to determine the winner of the election. Professor J.A. Mills won the election. Okay. Professor Mills did 1 term. President Mahama did the other term. He was a former vice president. By 2016, when President Mahama was exiting, and he was on the ballot. In fact, President Mahama is the only presidential candidate to have been defeated on the ballot. It's never happened. He was on the ballot and he was defeated by Nana Akufo-Addo. Would you have wanted, given the circumstance of 2016, that John Dramani Mahama will go on till 2018? Is that what you would have wanted? I'm sure that apologists of President Mahama would have said that because the doomsday had ravaged him so badly, if he had another 2 years, he would have quickly been able to recover. Yeah, you can give that argument some thought. But this is what happened then. And then let's come to Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. By 2016, Akufo-Addo won the highest popular vote in the history of the Fourth Republic and became president, sworn in on January 7, 2017. Now, Akufo-Addo's tenure, first term, was marked with what people describe as remarkable success. His major social intervention of free SHS was sounding alarm bells, was sounding the glory bells, I should say, all over the country and across the world. Citizens from other countries wanted it. Kenya wanted it, they adopted it. Uganda wanted it, they adopted it. Even Rwanda, which is said to be one of the best governed African countries, wanted it, and they also adopted it. So Akufo-Addo's free SHS did not just end within the borders of Ghana, it went across. Come 2024, Akufo-Addo was the most demonized leader as a result. Those of us who are apologists of Akufo-Addo will say that is as a result of the difficulties with COVID and immediately followed by a critical war in Russia and Ukraine, which affected supply chain. That's hurt Akufo-Addo. Those who don't like Akufo-Addo will say that it was not about COVID, that he was just a bad leader. Those who like Akufo-Addo, like me, will say that if he was a bad leader, why didn't you find it out in 2018, 19, and 20? Why did you find it out in 2022? But that said, those who are apologists of Akufo-Addo, like me, will say that in fact, if Akufo-Addo was transitioning from 2024 to 2026, which would have been this year, he would have recovered. And the MPP would have bounced back in a big way, because everything that happened in 2025 was not the doing of John Dramani Mahama. It was systems that had been put in place. So the 2025 economic stabilization would have aided Akufo-Addo's government, and Ghanaians would have believed that he has been able to restore the economy the way he said during the COVID that he does not know how to raise up dead people, but he knows how to restore the economy. Now, the constitutional amendment is saying that we must have 10 years for the president. I'll be dealing with, I'm asking you whether that is okay, but I'll be dealing particularly with the parliament one, and I'd like you to pay attention to that before Lawyer Balfour comes in. By now, they finished the set in Atamaklo, and we're just putting a few graphics together. You must have seen us on the touch screen dealing with the graphic situation. We're just putting a few graphics together, and we're ready and good to go with the set in Atamaklo. Tonight, we have a bullet of a program. Don't go anywhere. We're going all the way to midnight. Tomorrow is Friday. Let's talk about our country. It's more important. Give me the song one more time, and then I'll take a break. When I come back, we'll be flying. It says, Ghana. If you pray, if you are a praying person, please, when you pray, don't forget President John Dramani Mahama and Vice President Professor Jenna Nopokwajiman. They need our prayers big time. In addition to what was said in the New Testament that pray for the leaders, which is our obligation, those of us who are Christians and subscribe to the Bible. Hold on, I'm coming. I'll take this song in a minute. Yeah, but we need to pray for Ghana. I mean, you should look at social media today. It's amazing. We're going to show you. We've cut out some things that our friend Franklin Cudjoe had been saying. Franklin Cudjoe started on a certain trajectory, quite angry with the judgment. And then he sort of changed by 5 p.m. We have been monitoring it. Other people, we've monitored many other people, and we are going to share it with you. After the Attorney General said he was going to go to the Supreme Court, there were NDC apparatchiks on social media who were sort of defending the judgment. And then a question was asked by our engineer friend in London called Yao Isako. Isako asked the question that, if the judgment is so sacrosanct and is so good, why is the Attorney General announcing that he's going to appeal against it? And I don't know what the NDC people said. But this looks like a matter that is politically dividing all of us. Let's hear the song one more time, then we'll take a break. We need that song tonight. Let it go.
Omenyi musem yewe hiase na drinwa nopa eviana brenyina sewuri bompa ya kaigana sufre unyankupon fatana shenisa enona mbapa enona odo ma eno Yerishishe Odoma woman and Oma woman
Then we start the program. We are rolling from 10 to 11, the supersonic highway with all the legal analysis. We'll be right back.
The pulse of a nation, rising, unshaken. When the Black Stars take the world stage, we don't just play, we bring the storm. Fuel the dream. Support the Black Stars. Storm Energy Drink. Make your mark. Excessive drinking can be detrimental to health. Not recommended for persons under 18 years, lactating mothers, pregnant women, and people sensitive to caffeine. This advert is FDA approved.
Mommy, good morning.
Good morning, my son. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you, Mom. How about you?
I'm fine.
Joe, I just saw your mom doing her usual morning routine. Like, it was just 2 weeks she underwent a major colon surgery.
Bro, see, my mom is doing perfectly fine, and we're all excited about it. It was minimally invasive surgery, and the recovery has been very fast.
Minimally? Hey! No, wait. What do you mean by that?
So they offered my mom a laparoscopic colon surgery. Laparoscopic colon surgery, which we accepted. It turned out it was equally safe with a very fast recovery time, and the cost involved too was very, very reasonable. She was discharged 3 days after the surgery, and you can see her, she's on her feet again.
3 days?
Just 3 days, bro.
Mean Tuber Hospital, first Ghana colorectal center, aimed to serve a peculiar health need.
Madam, I'm looking for Abna.
Abna, there's someone looking for you.
Madam, please, where's Abna?
Abna, yes, ma'am. Is this who you are looking for?
Madam, please get me Abna. Please.
Della. Abna, bra.
Oh, Abna. If it's not Abna rice, I can't eat any of that anymore.
Abna rice. FDA ajejadie nkratso yatsumu.
Finding my dream apartment in just 2 days was a breeze with 7terragh.com. Looking for your next home, the perfect piece of land, or the best commercial property for your business? Are you worried about sending money home for property and finding nothing when you return? Well, worry no more. 7terragh.com is just a platform to find prime lands, perfect properties, or vibrant real estate development at the click of a button. 7terragh.com is your go-to property listing platform that allows you to register, list, rent, buy or sell, and connect with correct agents. With our AI-powered smart search, personalized dashboards, verified agent connection, and interactive property maps, all your property needs have been made easier. Check us out on 7terragh.com or contact us on 0302-998-246 or 0561 032 252. 7terragh.com, powered by MNC Properties.
In my line of work, a confident smile is everything. Kel Charcoal toothpaste keeps me on top of my game and ensures my smile is always radiant and bright.
With the tiring nature of my job, we spend several hours under the scorching sun. To keep our teeth white and our breath fresh all the time, we use none other than Kel Charcoal toothpaste. Kel Charcoal toothpaste. You're on a Kessie and in a kit one.
Samayo kendini, who be here, Semetra Sapapadia to a mammy manfo. Kel Charcoal's natural ingredients, and a bomb is so by, a man is rain, and a sansu mama hotel so a bedroom.
Kel Charcoal toothpaste. Choose Kel Charcoal Toothpaste for anti-cavity, whiter teeth, and fresher breath all day. Available in 80 gram and 150 gram. Grab yours today.
Kel, happy smile. This advert is FDA approved.
Today's class is going to be an exciting one. Now, who can share an unforgettable moment in their life? Okay, Asempa.
I'd like to talk about my first time. It was her natural look, complemented by her favorite green silky apparel that caught my attention. I have to say, she automatically possessed me with her smile, which exposed her beautiful white teeth. That's not all, her enduring signature perfume could be smelled from afar. Madam, why do you look so surprised? My first time with her was special and irresistible. I'm talking about Cindy Rice. Cindy Rice can be found in selected supermarkets nationwide.
Cindy Rice, sweet aroma, great taste.
This advert is FDA approved.
From the rich soils of Ghana, our farmers grow the finest ingredients. We clean, hand select, and carefully craft into bold, unforgettable flavors. And when you open our little bag of big taste, it's pure, bold, unforgettable flavor bursting in every bite. Enjoy the goodness made with big care. This advert is FDA approved.
Can he tee up someone in red?
Do not say! That's who goes for. I be the real goat.
Who is the goat? Ghana Jollof or Nigeria Jollof?
You are lying! Ghana Jollof!
We are talking about PET. Except be the goat, huh? My guy, him be the goat.
Though our choice of goats may differ in football, music, and jollof, Alomo Bitters always brings us together. Alomo, experience greatness in every moment.
Proudly produced by Casapreco PLC. Drink responsibly. Not for sale to persons under 18 years. Not recommended for pregnant women and lactating mothers. Don't drink and drive. This advert is FDA approved.
Good day, fellow Ghanaians. Dr. Adelaide Arobasiajafon is my name, Executive Director of the Jospon Group of Companies and the CEO of the African Agribusiness Consortium. By the grace of God, after several years of contributing significantly to Ghana's sanitation and waste management transformation, the Jospon Group made another bold decision a few years ago to support the transformation of Ghana's agriculture sector. As we became more involved in the agriculture sector, we realized that although Ghana has enormous agricultural potential, transforming the sector would require the active participation of a new generation of skilled and passionate young people. That is why, in partnership with the People's Friendship University of Russia, Rodin University, we sponsored 118 young Ghanaians to pursue postgraduate studies in agriculture and environmental sciences. Our goal was to prepare young professionals who will help drive Ghana's agricultural transformation. In about 2 weeks' time, these graduates will return home. They are coming back with knowledge, skills, and fresh ideas, and we are proud to welcome them home. I believe their success will not only benefit as individuals, but will also contribute to the growth of our agriculture sector and the development of our country. I wish to express my sincere appreciation to the People's Friendship University of Russia, Rodin University, for being a valued partner in this journey, and to the Embassy of Ghana in the Russia Federation for its unwavering support and commitment to the welfare of our students throughout their studies. Thank you very much. God bless you, and God bless our homeland, Ghana.
What is your bad day?
Welcome back to the show, and it's time to hit the road running. My lawyer is on the touch screen, so we're going to have the conversation. Let me just say something about another constitutional amendment. It's about the passport. So the law in Ghana is that you must be a single citizen, Ghanaian only, to be a member of parliament and to hold ministerial and deputy ministerial positions and government appointments, such as CEOs and things like that. There was a time when the Ghanaians were not even allowed to hold dual citizenship, and sometime during the second part of the NDC government, the first NDC Rawlings government, Dr. Beda Samoa, who was Attorney General, championed a dual citizenship conversation, but they left the dual citizenship so, however, that a dual citizen cannot be a member of parliament, a deputy minister, a minister, and also a high-profile government appointee. What their constitutional amendment that has been proposed to Parliament by H. Kwesi Prempeh's group is that dual citizens should be allowed to be members of Parliament. It's a very complicated matter, so we will deal with it in some detail. The other part, which I really want to talk about, is that they are asking for an amendment of the part of the Constitution that says that majority of ministers should come from Parliament. It says the President shall nominate ministers for Parliament to vet. So, however, that majority of the president's ministers should come from parliament. That's a novelty. It's new. I don't think anywhere in the world has it. Ghana has had a history where, if you begin with the Second Republic, in the Second Republic, we ran the British parliamentary system where every minister must be a member of parliament. Some people liked that. Some people didn't like that. In the Third Republic in 1979, we changed it and ran a system where, typical with the American system, as they say in political science, akin is the word they use, A-K-I-N, akin to the American political system where no minister is a member of parliament, that if you are a member of parliament and you are nominated as a minister, you have to resign your parliamentary seat, create a by-election, and go and be a minister. That was in the Third Republic. When they came to the Consultative Assembly in the Fourth Republic to look at this conversation, they decided that they are changing it and that this time they're going to give us a balance. So we call it a dual, the hybrid constituency, hybrid constitution, I should say. Hybrid between the United States of America and the United Kingdom, between the Washington politics and the Westminster politics. So the hybrid means that some ministers will come from parliament and some ministers will come from outside parliament. And this was very instructive. They said, so however that majority of ministers come from parliament. Now, if we're going to abandon this thing, it's going to create a crisis, because for my own experience and the parliament and policies that I've covered, I have noticed that ministers who hold critical government office who are not members of parliament often struggle. So if you like, let's go all the way back. We had Finance Minister Kwame Pepra in the Second Republic. Kwesi Botwe was Finance Minister throughout the PNDC. As soon as the first parliament came in, he began to have problems with parliament. Among other things, Flight Lieutenant Rawlings kicked him out. Richard Kwame Pepra was his replacement. Kwame Pepra also had major difficulties with the parliament in those days. And then came 2001. Yao Safo Mafo was a finance minister, member of parliament. It looked like it was smooth. Kojo Banredu, finance minister, member of parliament. It looked like it was smooth. Dr. Dufour came in as member of a finance minister during the Mills era. You have to tell me what it was. Tese Tekpe had difficulties. He was a finance minister under John Mahama. And then came the famous Ken Ofori-Atta. I think somebody wants to ask me that, are you saying that it would have been different with Ofori-Atta if he was a member of parliament? I dare say yes, it would have been different, completely different. You see, parliament teaches people how to govern. And so parliament has become a ground for people to study how to govern. Look at the John Mahama government. A minister like one of the shining spots of John Mahama's government, everybody agrees, is Kwame Agbodza, the roads minister. He's all over the country, trekking back and forth, making sure things are done. Kwame Agbodza is the guy. Now, Kwame Agbodza had been on the committee in parliament at least for 2 terms, maybe 3 terms. He's been on the Roads and Transport Committee in parliament for that long. So when he transitions as road minister, he clearly knows what he's about and he knows what to do. And if he's not a member of parliament, but he's a first-time member of parliament minister, he also knows what to do. We remember the likes of Abu Jinapo and Asensu Boachi, first-time members of parliament, they were ministers. And then they had a parliamentary committee to support them because they are members of parliament. It's important that we keep that. If we take that out, parliament will die. If we are saying that no minister can come from parliament, the president can appoint ministers from wherever he wants, parliament is going to die. And if parliament dies, democracy dies. Our best bet in democracy is parliament. Two things that hold democracy is parliament and the Supreme Court. Do you know why? The president is elected. He's an executive. The president is one plug. Inside the executive, nobody challenges the president. He's the boss in the executive. All ministers work at his behest. All deputy ministers work at the behest of the minister. All CEOs work at the president, I should say. All CEOs work at the behest of the president. Everybody works at the behest of the president. But parliament is a forum where there's competition. There's minority, there's majority. So that's where democracy is really played out. So if we are saying that the power of ministers who are part of parliament that helps them to govern properly, and also the parliament that serves as a training ground. Look at Case Salato Forsen. I mean, I don't support NDC, but even Kojo Oponkroma agreed that there has been some management of the economy that has been better than 2022. I think it's still part of the crisis of 2022. There are no crises now, but everyone thinks that Atu Forsen has done a creditable job. Atu Forsen has been on the Parliamentary Finance Committee for that long. He's been there forever. He was deputy minister. He was on the committee. He's been there. He's been representing Ejumako for that long. So Atu Forsen comes into the Minister of Finance job with a lot of information, a lot of experience. You can see what's happening in Parliament today. Kojo Oponkroma, Gideon Boaku, Mohamed Amin Anta. When Amin took over the Ministry of Finance, did you see how calm things were? And everyone says that if the MPP had one more year before the elections, Mohamed Amin would have turned everything around. Everyone talks about it. Mohamed Amin Anta, he was a member of parliament. He was on the finance committee. He was a deputy minister at trade, then minister of state. Then he became minister of finance. The experience from parliament, the association with parliament, the information from parliament is what made Amin be able to steady the ship in 2024. It's very important, viewers, and for young people who are watching, you want this democracy to survive, that amendment must be thrown away. We must maintain ministers as part of parliament. So, however, that majority of ministers would come from parliament. It's important that we keep that. Who is throwing that away? Who is asking us to stop it? Kwesi Prempeh, we disagree with you. This is not America. We can't import America into Ghana. It is so wrong. Parliament must be strengthened. If there's any institution in the democracy that we have to strengthen, it's two of them. And we're going to talk about one tonight. Parliament must be strengthened and the judiciary must be strengthened. They are the bulwark of democracy. They are the playground of democracy. If we are going to say that you don't have to be a minister to go to parliament, anybody can become, we're going to have a total crisis. We're going to have novices in ministerial positions. We're going to have, it's going to be terrible. We can't do that. There's a way in which America does it that makes it survive, but it costs a lot of money. And America has a double chamber. So they have the Senate that sort of checks a few things. Some things are exclusively for the Senate. We don't have a double chamber. We are happy with the chamber that we have. I think that we must look at this amendment very, very critically and keep it. We don't have to amend it. So, however, that majority of ministers and deputy ministers must come out of parliament. You see what Sam George, for instance. Sam George was on Eslausu's committee for 2 terms. And so he transitions to the Minister of Communications. He should ordinarily be able to do his job. Some people don't like the job that he's doing, but it's not because he doesn't have the competence for it. Maybe there's some political considerations that he has overstepped, and that can also hurt the job. I concede the political considerations can hurt you. But no one can say Sam George is not prepared for the Ministry of Communication job. He is prepared for it. Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa, the man I'm always fighting with, is my junior brother, but I'm always fighting with him. We'll continue fighting because sometimes I fight with him. Ablakwa had been on the Foreign Affairs Committee for that long. And then he's transitioned into foreign minister. Today, there's another person in the committee. Once in a while, you have somebody who is outside the committee, somebody is outside parliament, first-time MP or not MP at all, come to do a very good job as minister. But you cannot bank on that. We have to keep the parliament the way it is, and we have to keep the people in there as a training ground. If tomorrow Oponkroma becomes finance minister, he's been working on Bank of Ghana issues for the last 1 term in parliament. Gideon Boaku has been doing all of they know exactly what to do. The day you make Gideon Boaku finance minister, he knows exactly what to do. He knows who to call. I am outside parliament. If you go and make me finance minister in 2029 because Baumia has won, I have to call the MPs and ask them, Chobori, what's happening, what's happening. If you make Gideon Boaku finance minister, he walks straight into the job because he has been dealing with the committee. I think that we have to look at this very seriously. That's the end of my work for this one. It's now let me walk straight onto the touch screen and let's start with Sedi Tamaklo. Lawyer Bafo will join us in a minute. This is Good Evening Ghana. It's live and thank you very much for joining us. Lawyer Preku, good evening.
Good evening, Paul.
How did you first hear this morning that a Court of Appeal judgment has been given? Where were you?
I had gone to court at Koforidua.
Oh, you were in Kof Town?
So I was in Koforidua, that is so.
Before a judge?
Before a judge. Before a judge. So I was done with my matter. I was on my way to Accra when I heard it on the radio. So I parked at a town called Safro. It's just before you climb the mountain to Manfe.
Okay.
To check. Interestingly, the internet was. So I checked online and saw what was going on. And in fact, my friend, who was also my group study member, was in court. Mm-hmm. She's called Abina Boachi. Mm-hmm. And she said apparently when the judgment was delivered, people sort of gasped in the courtroom. I'm sure maybe they were not expecting.
But it was quite early, wasn't it?
Yes, and I think it shows that justice delivery can be swift if justice delivery wants to be swift.
Okay. I see. So then you follow the news throughout the day.
Then follow the news and then saw the commentaries by people, their opinions, the comparisons, and so on and so forth. Some people are saying, comparing it to Wuntumi's conviction, so on and so forth. But the thing is, the law is the law, so we would have to look at how it pans out.
All right, so viewers, what we are going to do from now is then to tell you what happened in great detail, no emotions attached. We're going to do our work expertly, as we always do it for you. We are here for your service. So let's start now, and so you can start the video from here. So 90 million Ghana cedis is what is at stake.
Yes, over 90 million. Let's just say 90 million.
This is how much Sedinam Tamaklo was charged for. 90 million Ghana cedis.
That is so.
By today's reckoning is about...
That's 90 million Ghana cedis.
If times 12 divided by 12 is...
the dollar.
I'm going to the dollar denomination.
That's why I read law in university.
I think viewers can calculate and let us know, those who are very
I'm sure it will be about...
divided by 12.5. If you are using... Governor Siames rate, or you are using Gideon Boaku's rate, you have to decide which one. Okay, so at least $8 million.
Yes,
for Sedinam Tamaklo. So it was being tried for appropriating $8 million of Ghanaian taxpayers' money.
That is so.
Okay, so
some are appropriating, some willfully causing financial loss,
and so forth. So what's the story?
So the accused person, Sedinam Tamaklo, was accused of various acts, and it's not as if the 90 million was there and then one day she went to take it. There are various acts. One, she was accused by the prosecution upon investigation by IOCO of appropriating a sum of 500,000 Ghana cedis, which sum was a refund from an investment fund that Maslock intended not to invest anymore. And so what had happened was that Maslock had given the money to a group of persons for investment.
Maslock's money given to an investment platform.
Then
Maslock went back for the money. But they will not invest anymore.
Yes, they were not comfortable with the rates.
With the terms.
With the rate
so
of
so they won't invest.
Yes.
And that money she took.
Exactly. So it is alleged that she took the money. Instead of the money being refunded to Maslock properly so-called, one of the witnesses who worked for the investment company alleges that he met her at a filling station around Bachuna and gave the money in a Ghana must go upon pressure given to him by Sedinam Tamaklo.
That bring me the money,
physical cash.
So that was 500, and then the rest was...
And then the other, so some was that money that was appropriated for Kantamanto fire victims upon the direction of President Mahama. There was a fire at Kantamanto. President Mahama directed that some money should be paid. It was appropriated.
Money should be paid from Maslock to fire victims.
You know, Maslock is responsible for government supports.
Okay.
So for the poor, for petty traders. Yes. And so this is an example. It may be standing or it may be pursuant to the president's order because it's an agency under the executive.
But how did she take that money?
And so the money is dispersed. The money was dispersed for the victims. However, it would seem that it never reached them. And so administratively, the money was diverted to another account. So that is one. Another was some money that was budgeted for the purchase of certain cars, and it was inflated. The market rates was not what the vehicles were purchased for. It was actually purchased way higher than that. And where did the money go to? It's alleged it went to Sedina Tamaklo. Another one was purchase of mobile phones. It was the market rate was about 24,000 Ghana cedis, and yet it was inflated to close to 98,000 Ghana cedis. Where did the money go to? It was alleged that it went to Sedina Tamaklo. Another is
she was convicted with another person.
That is so.
Yes.
One
who was charged, who was convicted for 5 years in jail, but
so.
who is also on a bail pending appeal. Okay. All right. So what did the judge?
He did 2 years.
He said
and then he was granted bail.
Yes.
And so he's out pending the final determination of the appeal.
Okay. But now with this Sedina appeal, he probably has a good case before the court of appeal.
Most likely. So and then also there's money laundering. And so once the monies were appropriated, there has to be a way to. And so it was also alleged that she laundered the money. However, the court ruled that since the substantive offences could not be made out, then obviously the money laundering charges will also fall off.
Which court of appeal?
The court of appeal, that's what I mean.
We'll get there. We'll get to that. I just want us to know what the High Court said. So now let's understand why did the High Court convict her? What did they say?
So all these individual acts are grouped under 3 main heads that come under 3 thematic areas that we are calling the first case before Her Ladyship Justice Ifya Serwa Asare-Botwe. And so what was the basis for the initial conviction, right? So, as I mentioned earlier, the appropriation of 500,000 Ghana cedis. So, I've already given the facts, right?
Yeah.
Now,
but you're talking 90 million or so 500.
No, this is one.
$500,000.
500,000. No, it's Ghana cedis.
Okay,
it's Ghana, but I'm sure it was a misnomer.
Okay.
So you notice here it's cedis.
Okay, all right.
No, this is so there are others. We'll get there.
Yeah.
So this is one. And the reason this is here is because the way it came was quite interesting. So what had happened was that after Sedina Tamaklo, or after it was alleged that Sedina Tamaklo gave pressure to the investment company to refund the money to her personally, they met at a filling station, and then one of the staff of the company gave the money in a Ghana must go to Sedina Tamaklo. Now, they felt that there's a problem. And the problem was that they had to refund, they had to be given a receipt. Please leave the touch screen. Please leave the touch screen.
Okay.
Please leave the touch screen. They had to be given a receipt, right, to show proof of the fact that the money had indeed been returned.
Yes.
So when the receipt was issued, it was issued and signed by Sedina Tamaklo. Now, interestingly, when she was queried about it, she mentioned that, and the quote is here, I cannot vouch that the letter was signed by me, even though the signature looks like mine. I cannot vouch that the letter was signed by me, even though the signature looks like mine. So in this instance, the allegation is that, one, you appropriated this money, and then two, that's based on your instruction, and then you signed a document, right, purporting to receive it on behalf of Maslock.
Yeah.
The signature looks like you. 2 persons have come forward to say that you were the one who appropriated the money and you signed. You yourself have also admitted that the signature looks like yours. And so the judge looked at all these things to say that, okay, if you have admitted that the signature looks like yours, like your signature, and 2 independent persons have said that you signed and gave this to them, then obviously you were the one who signed and you were the one who appropriated it. More particularly so when Maslock said they could not find any such money.
So this on that one. Do you have another one?
Yes. So this another.
Let's speed it up so we can.
This another claim about a sum of 1.7 million Ghana cedis for the sensitization of 85,300 beneficiaries of a project. Now, she alleged that indeed the money was appropriated and used for the sensitization project.
Appropriated and also used.
Yes. So when I say appropriate, I mean taken and used for the project, the sensitization.
Yes, that they did the work.
They did the work.
Yes. Okay.
But Justice Ifya noted that there were no pictures of the event. There was no proof of the training because the plan was that for these 85,000 persons, there was supposed to be 20 cedis TNT given to each person, as well as the provision of certain kits and feeding for them. There was no proof. There were no proof of receipts of the feeding. There was nobody came forward to testify that I had been given this money on this date pursuant to this training.
In her defense, she didn't present.
There was nothing of the sort.
So the prosecution suggested to her that there was no training ever.
There was no training ever, because if you, Paul Adomotri, are saying that I took 100 cedis from Metro to do a training for Good Evening Ghana staff, you can call Ikuya or Mumin to come forward and say that.
Did you not participate?
I participated. Okay. And they can even say, oh, these are selfies we took.
And they can cross-examine them to see whether they are lying or
there was nothing like that.
Okay, all right. Somebody is sending me a text and saying that at the time Sedinat's case was on, the dollar was not what it is today. It was 6.
It was 6. So
our calculation
it would even be more.
Yes, it would be about 11 million.
Yeah, it would even be more.
Okay, so let's run through the charges and we get to today. What happened today? Okay. So you have so all of this put together. What did the judge, apart from the individual, how many witnesses were called by?
There were 7 witnesses called, and unlike other matters, let me be a bit mischievous. Unlike other matters, these witnesses were not procured to secure a conviction against someone.
Okay, so they were not being prosecuted with her.
So that they were being chased. And then
so these are the witnesses.
This PW1.
Stephen Amoah is the chief executive officer of microfinance and small loans.
So he spoke to...
Stephen Amoah was the...
Yes, but this sticker. But you need him to speak to the fact that the funds were missing.
Okay, so he's the official
Maslow. Yeah,
he's the kind of complainant.
Exactly.
Okay. So Samuel Kwanzaa is what? Accountant, board member of Batampa. That's where they did the deal. Okay, and then Seth Oboe GSC is a traditional ruler and farmer.
And the farmer.
Okay, and then Samuel Nikwe is a driver at Maslock. Was he the one driving the car at the Bachuna Total thing?
Well, yes, and then other rounds,
and money, he came to testify against her boss that he collected money.
Other money rounds. So it seems that he did with. Okay, he's alleging that it was.
Then Francis Bando, head of finance at Maslock,
obviously,
and then Philip Bafwewa, chartered accountant and managing director of Bafwewa and Associates. Managing partner, yeah. Okay, and then field desk officer Kodria Baswa Benyin Chum. Okay, so these are the witnesses that were called. All right. So in the end, what did the judge say?
So the judge said that 1, based on the evidence that was produced, 1, sums of monies were lost. Now, that is a fact that cannot be taken away. Sums of money were lost. The question is, where did the money go to? There were witnesses. For instance, Samuel Kwanzaa and co, who came forward to say that the monies were traced to one person, who, the appellant, Sedina Tamaklo, and consequently, she is the person who was, and that's also because she absconded.
Yeah, that's what I'm coming to. Viewers would like to hear the real story about this, because it's been said that during the trial, she left the country upon permission, and the Attorney General granted it, that she was going for medical something, checkup, and she didn't come back. At which point of the trial did she leave?
It was during the prosecution's case.
After the prosecution was still making their case.
So in the
witnesses were being called.
Exactly.
Is it okay to suggest that maybe she realized where this was going and tried to find a window of escape?
Well, that's it. But you know, one thing about the law is that they are blind to these things. But it's possible. It's possible that looking at the way things were going, as she saw the evidence and how it was coming, there's a possibility she said that actually.
Okay, but the Attorney General granted her permission.
Yes, so she applied to the High Court for leave, and the High Court ordered that her passport be given to her. And in fact, that day, it was adjourned to the next legal year.
Oh, I see. So enough time.
Enough time.
So like about this time.
Yes.
Where the legal year is ending now till October. So that they were expected that by October she'll be back.
Yes, so she left 21st of July. 21.
1st of July.
21st July 2021.
Okay, 21st July. Oh, towards the end of the legal year.
Yeah, so basically, you know, at that time. Yeah. So she went abroad for the medical checkup, and it seems she didn't come. The interesting thing is that the extradition process, which was commenced, it would seem that the judge in the US agreed that indeed her conviction was not politically motivated, and it was based on that the extradition request was granted, and she was brought back to Ghana to face
So since July 2021, she's not been in Ghana.
Till she was brought.
Till recently.
Yes.
Or even recently she was brought. I have to remember that.
She was brought.
We have to show viewers the Martin Pebu video. It's very important. We'll show viewers that one.
Yes. So she was brought.
Okay.
She was in the Nevada detention center.
Let's look at the timelines then we come to today. People are in a hurry to hear what's happened today and how we relate to it. So
so
you have to open the folder.
Yes.
Okay, there you go. Yeah, you have
so we called it the Said Natamaklo, the tug of war with justice. So this starts 2013 to 17.
She served as CEO of Microfinance and Small Loan Center. Alleged offenses: misappropriation of public funds, procurement breaches, money laundering, and occurred during her period. That's what they said. And then the arraignment was on 30th January 2019, arraigned before the High Court's Financial Division on 78 counts, including conspiracy to steal, stealing, causing financial loss to the state, improper payment of public funds, money laundering, breaches of the Public Procurement Act. And then in 2019, she was granted permission to travel abroad. You said 21. You have
it's
19.
21.
It's 21. Okay.
Yes.
So in 2021, she was granted permission to travel abroad for medical reasons. She left for the US and never returned, leading to the courts to continue the trial in absentia. When they say they continue the trial in absentia, are lawyers allowed to work in the trial?
Yes. There was one like that where we had the clients against all our advice went to the US and did not come. It was during the pendency of a trial.
You're talking a personal case that you can speak to? Okay.
Yes, so we advised him to come. We said he should go. We gave him warning. He went and he didn't come back. We continued. So we came as if, and then we work as if.
So you cross-examine?
Yes.
And you bring your witnesses?
Yes. But for criminal matters, it is important, even when the judge doesn't sit, the accused person must come. And then what the clerks will do is that the clerks record the accused person as present, even if the judge, nothing happens.
Okay.
So criminal matters, the person is his.
But so now, as a criminal matter, she wasn't there. How did her lawyers work?
You are cross-examining the other side.
So the lawyers participated fully
to cross-examine the other side. But if you are not there, how is your evidence going to be?
Yeah, but the lawyers can call her witnesses.
You may call your witnesses, but if the person himself, the best,
So she never got to the place where she was being cross-examined?
No. So in fact, that's why I said it was during the pendency of the prosecution's case.
Okay,
so Justice Efia Sewa mentioned is that it would have been great for her to answer
those
to some charge, but it would seem that because of
Didn't the lawyer say, let's send her a questionnaire or something like that? It didn't come up?
Someone who has run away. Once you have
still unwell.
Once you have run away, then if she was still unwell, a special process could have been. There could be proof. There could be.
But doesn't anyone guarantee for her when she's traveling? Doesn't anybody say like a condition that I guarantee that she'll be back, something like that?
In Ghana, often these things, once there's even someone who decides to guarantee and the person decides to abscond, you cannot go and arrest the person.
Yeah, but there should be something like that.
And
maybe some properties,
that would be. I'm not aware of.
The state will take these properties.
I'm not.
We know that it's 90 million, like the bail.
That's bail, but I'm not aware of in this
particular instance.
Particular instance.
We don't want to run out of time. All right. So this is what happened.
Convicted, extradition.
Okay. We have the extradition. So 2024, Ghana formally requests extradition from the United States. On 6 January 2026, arrested in Nevada by U.S. Marshals. On 9th April, U.S. Magistrate Judge certified extradition. On June 8th, surrendered to Ghanaian authorities. The first successful U.S. extradition since 2009.
U.S.-Ghana extradition.
U.S.-Ghana extradition. Okay. So arrived in Accra aboard United Airlines flight. So taken into custody to serve a sentence. Defense lawyers pressed her appeal, arguing prosecution failed to prove its case beyond reasonable doubt. Okay.
And we are here today.
So now, today.
So this acquittal.
Acquittal. 30th July. Ghana's Court of Appeal unanimously, 3 judges all said so, quashed her conviction and sentence, acquitting and discharging her of all charges. Court ruled prosecution failed to substantiate the claims. Found trial judge overlooked constitutional
they
found that the trial judge, the High Court judge, overlooked constitutional presumption of innocence. Okay, so let's talk about today's ruling.
Okay, so for today's ruling, it was an interesting ruling that has evoked discussions today.
All right. Okay.
This is the wrong foot. Let me
get it. Our viewers here, we're trying to get you the ruling for today. And if you are still watching, which camera am I looking at? Okay, if you are still watching, lawyer J. Baffour is in the studio. He'll be joining us in a minute to deal in some particular detail. We have a video of his where the lawyer J. Baffour had predicted what was going to happen. It looks like That's what is happening now. Okay. So you can take that out of the video. Let's move on.
So this is the page with the front cover. There's no need.
So the judges are Emmanuel Ankama J.A. He presided. Yes. Samuel Obin Diewu J.A. and Emmanuel Senyo Amedahe. Okay, J.A.
So Justice Ankama wrote the judgment, and then Justice Obin Diewu and Justice Senyo Amedahe agreed.
Associated with. Okay, what did they say?
Okay, so I would skip all of this since the board approval, and these are all the things.
But give us the germane stuff. What did they say?
Okay, so they noticed that if you look at the offense of willfully, all the offenses concerning willfully causing financial loss to the states, they were not particularized enough to give the accused person notice of the nature of the offense. So in law,
what does that mean?
So when we accuse, we'll say that count one, say stealing, okay? Then they'll say that you, Kwekwa Prekwe Japan, on so and so date within the jurisdiction of this court, did dishonestly appropriate a mobile phone.
Yes, but is that not the particulars of the offense?
That's the particulars of the offense.
Yeah.
So here, the court noted that if you look, I lifted this for reference. If you look at the statement of the offense, it's willfully causing financial loss to the state, contrary to section 179A, 3A of the Criminal Offences Act, so and so. And then the particulars is Sedina Christine Tamaklo Ationu on or about 15th July 2015 in Accra, in Greater Accra region, willfully caused financial loss of 20,000 Ghana cedis. This is just one. There are multiple.
Yeah, okay, there are 78 counts. Okay.
Right, there are 78, but
so every count has the statement of offense and the particulars of offense. The Court of Appeal was not happy with the particulars of offense.
Exactly, because the Court of Appeal noted that if you look at the wording, it says willfully caused financial loss of 20,000 Ghana cedis. How was it? Was it an appropriation?
Is that not what the witnesses
was it a botched contract? Exactly. So the court reasoned that the charge should have displayed that was it an appropriation of the 20,000 Ghana cedis, i.e., did you take the 20,000 Ghana cedis?
Yeah, but that's still...
Was it a contract?
At that stage, is it not still... It's still theory, isn't it? It is when the court starts and then witnesses come and speak to the fact. That's when you are getting the practicality of it.
Exactly.
So why is the Court of Appeal not telling us whether the witnesses were able to discharge their obligation as prosecution witnesses or not? Should that not be what the Court of Appeal should be telling us?
And I agree. I agree in that sense. I do not think that this was insufficient notice to do away with the substance of the charge sheet or the legality of the charge sheet. And the reason is that this is how a case is structured.
Did the Court of Appeal deal with the witness statements?
Yes.
To say that they were not sufficient and that they did not convince the court, or they ought not to have convinced the court because they didn't say they did that.
Yes, those are other. So this is one ground and then those are other ones. Now, the reason I disagree with this ground is that when a trial starts, the prosecution will come and mount its case. Now, yes, maybe sufficient particulars were not given, but in teasing out these particulars, in teasing out the substance of the offense, the prosecution will call witnesses. The prosecution will give evidence. The witnesses and the evidence and the witness statements and all these things should be able to give the defendants notice.
But the story you said is quite detailed and for every child to understand. In the case of the 500,000, you take 500,000 to go and invest on platform A. You decide, or Maslow decides that we don't like the terms of the investment. So platform A, return the money to us. And that money is returned to you cash in Bachona total.
Ghana must go.
And Maslow doesn't find it. What more evidence does anyone need to suggest that the offense was not particularized?
So he was saying that, my lords were saying that based on these facts, they must have been more specific in couching the particulars of offense.
Yeah, but is that the reason why an obligation in criminal prosecution is not discharged?
No.
Is that the reason that you were supposed to write Sedina Tamaklo, but you wrote it another way? But when I came to the court, I said Sedina Tamaklo, so and so and so, and showed what had happened. And anyway, I'm sure that
at the end of the day, they should have just asked the question
for people to talk about.
They should have just asked the question. They said, "Did you have notice? Did you have sufficient notice of the case the prosecution intended to mount?"
But the lawyers tell us that the Court of Appeal is not retrying the matter; they are assessing the ruling.
That's what I'm saying. That based on the ruling, they should be able to tell, based on the ruling and the proceedings. They should be able to ask themselves a question and then satisfy themselves as to whether or not a reasonable defendant would have had notice per the facts and evidence led by the prosecution.
Soon thereafter, the Attorney General says that he's going to appeal the matter. How did the lawyers receive that?
Some people said the settings and PR.
I've seen that. Joy FM actually used that. We have it. People are saying that this is settings and PR.
Because interestingly, if I could go back, there are other claims that we could do, but
we don't have time. We just want people to understand. Yeah.
So if we could go back, if you look at the judgments in and of itself, if you look at the end, see here, counsel, Hilda Craig, PSA means Principal State Attorney for respondents. Respondents is the Republic, Ghana. And then Enoch, sorry if I've made that.
Enoch
Degbe for first appellants.
Okay.
If this was a very interesting case that they were, because I've seen the posturing of the states against corruption. Shremsai, going to court and all. And it's good for them to do that.
Yeah.
So why wasn't he able to come appear in court for this? Why did he leave it to a PSA? Not to say a PSA is bad, but why are we showing interest in some matters?
That's their decision.
As opposed to that's their decision, right? But it's also their decision.
But it's a good observation to make.
It's also their decision to appear in Wontumi.
The Attorney General and the Deputy Attorney General did not appear for this one.
Yes, but
however, that's what the Attorney General said. His attention has been drawn.
Has been drawn?
That means Hilda Craig must have told that we lost the appeal, and that he says he's going to appeal to the Supreme Court.
But see, my case
when
is
an appeal like that goes to the Supreme Court, what is on trial? Is it the Court of Appeal's decision? Or is it the High Court's decision?
They would look, ordinarily it's the Court of Appeal's decision. So they will basically say that the Court of Appeal erred in...
So the Attorney General is going to ask the Supreme Court to affirm the High Court's decision?
Yes.
That's really what he's going to do?
That's what he's saying he's going to do.
Yeah, but he's going to file documents, we'll see.
That's if you do it.
But in the nature of an appeal of a criminal matter from the Court of Appeal to the Supreme Court, that's what we should understand the Attorney General is doing. The Attorney General is asking the Supreme Court to affirm the decision of the High Court.
Because he's dissatisfied. But as I said, if you look at the posture of this government, all corruption cases have been spearheaded by the Deputy Attorney General, which is good because it shows that the interest in corruption. So why are we leaving this out and
to a Principal State Attorney?
I'm not saying that Principal State Attorney is bad.
Hierarchy. There's Attorney General, Deputy Attorney General, the Director of Public Prosecution, the Solicitor General on the other side, the civil side.
Yeah.
Let's continue down from the Director of Public. Who's next?
For that, I'm not really
okay because I want to find out.
A Principal State Attorney ranks high up.
Okay, all right.
A Principal State Attorney ranks high up.
Is it immediately below the Director of Public Prosecution?
For that, I cannot.
Because in fact, the Attorney General said that he has instructed the Director of Public Prosecution to file the appeal.
To go up.
Okay, all right. Let's wrap it up. Okay, so this is
one,
where we
and then
are.
there are other Manasseh Azuri.
Yeah, let's look at what social media. And I'll be also going to show you just briefly before we talk to Lawyer Bafo. He has a lot more to say. In fact, we have a video of Lawyer Bafo we'll be showing.
Yes.
But let's show you what social media was saying about
Foyer of Parliament.
So this Manasseh Azuri, a good friend. Manasseh says it's shameful and scary at the same time. It's shameful and it's scary at the same time. I think I get the point of the scary bit. And when the ruling came out, and I was scared too for some aspect of what people were saying. Many people were saying that, NDC government has saved her. And that's why I was worried. Because this is a classic judicial decision. Yes. If people are beginning to read into it that it's a political decision, I'm very afraid. And I guess that's where Manasseh's scary is coming from. It's very scary for if there's a Supreme Court decision that the president is interested. For instance, Akufo-Addo was sued on DOM level, so he's interested. And the Supreme Court comes and says 8-0, the president is right. And we are reading political meanings into it. I think I can understand
DOM
that.
level?
He won. He actually won. DOM level won at the Supreme Court.
That's what
but I'm saying that assuming Akufo-Addo had won, and it was a 7-member panel, and they said, unanimous MC, they voted for the president. That's easy to sort of fathom and put it together. But this is a Court of Appeal decision over a High Court matter. And people are hurriedly reading political meanings into it. That's where this is really scary. If that's where Ghana is going, then we are in trouble.
I think we should take time and read the judgments of the.
We would. What do we have next?
Before we make so that we satisfy ourselves. But then you see.
Now let's go to civil society before we come to this.
Okay, so what has got Franklin Kujo?
Yeah, Franklin Kujo. Yeah, what did Franklin Kujo say? Yeah, and then there's another one.
There were many.
The last one. Yes, we are doing the production with you today, so forgive us. This is what we do behind the scenes that you don't see.
Touch, not.
Okay, we have.
So, Franklin Kudjo's own was a bit layered.
Oh no, Franklin, there were 2 of them, more than one. Do you have more?
That's what I say, they are layered. That's why.
Okay, it says you can steal.
Was first.
This Franklin Kudjo, this 8 hours ago, so you can calculate very close to there. You can steal. You can dupe the state, run away, get extradited back to your country, and when your party is in power, you will be free. On that note, Ken Ofori-Atta Tuaso, live free, live forever.
So it's layered.
Frankly, Kudjo is very upset with the system, but the way he puts it is quite graphic. That Sedina Tamaklo, you can steal. Sedina Tamaklo, you can dupe the state. Sedina Tamaklo, you can run away. Sedina Tamaklo, you will get extradited back to Ghana. And when the NDC is in power, you will be free. On that note, Ken Ofori-Atta Tuaso, live free and live forever. Let's see the next layer of Franklin Kudjo's conversation. He says
this. So this was in support of the first position.
Let it 7
earlier.
hours.
So it's in support of the first position.
Okay, it says Oral just did the witch's dance. 2 steps forward, 4 steps backwards. Koklo, that means what?
I don't know.
Franklin Kudjo likes saying that. No, Koklo is not complimentary.
It's not Koklo.
Who will tell us what does it mean?
N.
Oh no, I'm not sure about that. Okay, all right. Koklo is hen. So I see what he means. Let's move to the next Franklin Kudjo.
But then before we have to give some background. So I think somebody teased out the judgments to him or something, and so
what did he say?
Position is here.
Wait till the Court of Appeal to dismiss all 78
charges.
Wait
till for the Court of Appeal
to dismiss all 78 charges against Sedina, the former Attorney General Godfrey Edebua, ably backed by the DPP's office, could not pin down blah blah blah. Okay, we get that. Let's move on.
So this is it. This is where it ends. If you read it,
let's go on to another social media. We are running out of time, so let's hurry up. Then what else do we have?
Then there were
no, not that one, not the picture of the people. Don't you have any other social media? Otherwise, you go to the videos. Oh, somebody sent me just this one, and he told me that if I don't show this, he will never watch. He will stop watching Good Evening Ghana. He sent this to me and said, if you don't show, his name is Kobe something. He says, if you don't show this, I'll stop watching your program. When a nation pardons its criminals faster than it rewards its heroes, it teaches the next generation that corruption is not a crime but a career. It's by George Omagbemi Sylvester. That's a Nigerian name, I'm sure. It says it's very, very profound. It says when a nation pardons its criminals faster than it rewards its heroes, it teaches the next generation that corruption is not a crime but is a career. Now let's go to a video of Lawyer Bafo, who is in the studio today. He held a press conference in Parliament and predicted quite a bit of what's happening today. If he's ready, let's show the video. Okay, the producer is going to tell them. I have several producers here. One of them is going to tell them what to do. Okay, I think we're good. Let's show it.
Another assurance she has been given is that they are going to work around the clock to have the decision overturned. I am a lawyer, and I don't know how it is going to be done. Government is the only one that can say so, but this is the assurance they have given her. But we want to sound a word of caution to government. The Ghanaian people are watching us very closely as political class. They are tired of the way and manner we protect, or government protects their own when it comes to corruption and corruption-related cases. Ghanaians are tired. They can't have it anymore. We must be seen to be acting on corruption and not protecting our own. That has been the trend with this government since it assumed office. It filed nolle prosequi in cases in respect of cases which members of the NDC were standing trial, and now it is playing games with the conviction and the sentencing of Sedinam Tamaklo. Indeed, by preventing her from serving the prison term for the 15 days that she has been in Ghana, government has interfered with a lawful order of a court of competent jurisdiction, and that is contempt of court. And the government will only do that because Madam Sedinam Tamaklo is one of its own. And that has been the trend. That said, we want to state that we are going to keep an eye on the matter. We are going to keep an eye on the matter. The trend cannot be that anytime an NDC member falls foul of the law, the person is protected and the person is prevented from or secured from facing the law. We are keeping an eye on the matter. Yes, said the wire on baby or te.
So when Bafo mounts the touchscreen, you can ask him why he said what he said, but he was very, very prophetic. Let's get back onto the touchscreen and see Bongo ideas. Firstly, he says, the Attorney General came in and discontinued all cases against former NDC appointees. Then he started new cases against MPP appointees. Then Sedina Tamaklo was convicted, and now she's been acquitted and discharged. The same Attorney General is saying he's going to appeal. Seriously? Tomorrow, Chema Wontumi will be released when the MPP come to power. In all this, it is Ghana that continues to lose the fight against corruption because we prefer selective justice and political expediency over the nation. We are not, I think he meant we are not a serious people. I don't know whether Bongo Ideas wrote this himself.
It's supposed.
Bongo, it's supposed. Bongo, did you write this yourself? Charlie, you should go and take an LLB, because the things you've written there, LLB is kosher. Go and take an LLB. I like to read it again. Firstly, the Attorney General came in and discontinued all cases against former NDC appointees. Then he started new ones against MPP appointees. But Bongo Ideas is these days pro-NDC, so I'm quite impressed that he can put this up boldly against his own people. Then Sedina Tamaklo was convicted, and now she's been acquitted and discharged. The same Attorney General is saying he's going to appeal. Seriously? Tomorrow, Chairman Wontumi will be released when the MPP comes to power. And in all this, Ghana continues to suffer. Okay, let's go to Enoch Kofi Nyarko. Show me another one.
Okay.
And then I have another video for you coming up. It's by Martin Pebu.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just want to look at the... yeah, okay. That's a Maslow guy. Okay, whilst we find that, perhaps let's take the Martin Pebu video whilst sorry, today we are doing the production with you so you can see what he does behind the scenes. Martin Pebu said that Sedina should come quickly, serve small sentence, and then the president can pardon, because Martin Pebu was sure that the High Court's ruling was correct. Listen.
To be honest, Sedina, so when the NDC won, I thought she would have quickly come back. Because look, the plain truth is that when because she's a high profile person, should have gotten better treatment in the prisons. So for me, the moment NDC won, I was like, when this woman come down quickly, come and serve some years, maybe 3 years, and then the president will pardon her. So for all the time she kept staying there, I kept wondering, I was like, really? What's going amiss? Because your party is in office. We are not hiding it. Because her party is in office, she'll get better treatment in the prisons. Well, look, it's not everything we can say on air. But that would have been the best time to serve, so that you stay in 3 years. 3 years, when the president grants you pardon, not many people will make noise about it, because once you serve 3 years, it's all.
Come. All right, another one says, this is Enoch Kofi Nyarko, who is an MPP writer. He says, Sedina Tamaklo was not charged alone. She was prosecuted together with her operations manager, Daniel Axim. Daniel Axim received a 5-year prison sentence, while his boss, Sedina Tamaklo, was sentenced to 10 years for the roles in activities that caused the state to lose millions of cedis. Daniel Axim served about 2 years in prison. After his party came to power, he appealed his 5-year sentence in January 2025. The court granted him bail pending the determination of his appeal. In other words, he has remained at home while the Court of Appeal has yet to conclude the case. How many convicted and sentenced persons are granted bail pending appeal against their sentences? We are now in 2026 and the appeal is still unresolved. It could be even delayed until further notice. He can go to the Supreme Court when the appeals court rule against him. Why does the Attorney General appear to have little interest in this case? Why is the public not interested in this case? So, I am surprised that some people are surprised by the decision to free Sedina Tamaklo. It is difficult to believe that anyone thinks that the public cannot see the pattern. At the very least, the process of Sedina Tamaklo's case appears likely to mirror what was done for Daniel Axim. Trust this wash and wear government at your own risk. They are selling an image that, in my view, does not match their actions. That's in Kofi. Do we have any more to read?
Yes. I'll give some insights from what happened or what happens inside Maslog. It was quite sad.
His name is Montage General.
Yeah.
Okay, he says that I have worked at Maslog as a credit officer. You would be surprised by the kind of scrutiny ordinary market women go through just to secure 1,000 cedis micro loan. People travel all the way from Swami, Ejuso, Kuntunase to our regional office at Angloga Junction just to have their 1,000 loan applications scrutinized. These women spend the whole day at the office, sitting in long queues throughout working hours. Some even arrive earlier than we do just to be at the front of the queue. Sometimes, these market women need connections to their MPs, DCs, or some big man in government before arrangements are made for us to travel to their districts to scrutinize their loan applications. One person stole and appropriated millions of Ghana cedis, inflated the cost of items procured for the service, and lived large on the sweat of the taxpayer. Money went to support victims of market fire outbreaks, wasn't spared. Money meant to support victims of market fire outbreaks wasn't spared. She fled to the USA after the elections. It wasn't after the election, it was during the trial. The previous government managed to secure a conviction and began the extradition process. She finally arrived, filed an appeal, and within months, a hearing date was scheduled. Then, boom, she was acquitted and discharged. Shegu politicians. Do you know how many market women could have benefited from 90 million Ghana cedis? Do you know the impact it could have had on the working capital of a tomato seller at Asawasi market? Hey, Ghana, we aren't angry enough. To Alayaiza. Did I say it well? Alayaiza. This one is quite touching. This guy's thing is very
it's personal.
It's very personal. He's very angry, and we all must share the tears that he's shedding. This is very bad. I hope the Attorney General is seeing some of these things to urge him on to go to the Supreme Court and try and do all he can. And if he doesn't succeed, fair enough. But he should be seen to have discharged his duty with such vengeance and verve, because of anti-corruption issues. Anyway, now what do we have next?
We've done with Mati Pebo, so we are on Kulendi's statement.
Okay, is it just a statement? We don't have a video.
No, the video. I'm sorry, but I mean
right.
The statements.
Now it's interesting. Okay, it's interesting. Whilst all of this was going on, last Tuesday, you remember that we hosted two Faculty of Law lecturers here, and they were talking about a program. Justice Yoni Kulendi of the Supreme Court, who was one of the judges in the OSP matter, was addressing the alumni and students at the University of Ghana. He said something instructive. It was almost as if he was responding to the Court of Appeal judgment, but of course he wasn't. And he spoke against them. Do we have it? Do we have it? Okay, let's watch Justice Kulendi speaking at the Faculty of Law.
Justice, therefore, is not an event. It is an institution. I therefore suggest to you that the architecture of effective justice rests upon three indispensable pillars. 1, the stewardship of the bench. 2, advocacy of the bar. And 3, the trust of the people. The Constitution itself leads us to this architecture. Article 125 declares that justice emanates from the people and is administered by the judiciary in the name of the Republic. Those words are profoundly significant. They remind us that neither judges nor lawyers own the administration of justice. Judicial authority belongs to the people, while the bench and the bar merely exercise it in trust for the people. Every judgment delivered and every submission made by a lawyer is therefore an exercise of the public trust rather than a private privilege. If justice ultimately belongs to the people, then the effectiveness of our justice system cannot be assessed by constitutional ideals alone. Judicial independence, the rule of law, and access to justice remain indispensable principles, but they must also find practical expression in the everyday experiences of those who come before the courts. Institutions are measured not only by the ideals they proclaim, but also by the outcomes they produce.
That was Justice Yoni Kulendi. Profound, wasn't it? So profound. He says justice is not for the judges and the lawyers. It must be justice for the people. Whenever the people feel that justice has not been done, as we saw on social media today, if social media is a good platform to gauge how Ghanaians are feeling, then we have questions to answer as a people. All of us are part of it. Those of us who report the news like me, journalists, political journalists, lawyers, civil society, and ordinary Ghanaians. That's why we play the song that Maumei Munsemi Hiao. When Lawyer Balfour comes and he's fixing his touchscreen, we'll play that song in the background again. But now, though, you are the most important. We have to hear from you. Oh, you got it. So this is what Justice Kulendi said. Judicial power is not a possession of judges. It is a sacred trust held on behalf of the people. The moment we forget this, we begin to lose the very foundation upon which justice stands. I mean, I was going to discuss with you and Lawyer Balfour. I think that maybe we should have a system where a lot more successful barristers are taken to the Supreme Court. Because they seem to have a real mind of their own. Mm-hmm. You know, look how Justice Kulendi is saying judicial power is not a possession at a time like this. Mm-hmm. He says judicial power is not a possession of the judges. It is a sacred trust held on behalf of the people. The moment we forget this, we begin to lose the very foundation upon which justice stands.
I think what Nanado did was to mix, and it was one good thing he did, mix the bench.
It should be mixed, but I think we should have more you know, I'm happy with Tony Forson's nomination, former president of the bar, etc. We really need to get people like that.
But they are proper career judges.
We need career as well. But I'm thinking that for the Supreme Court, we need more successful barristers. It depends on who is going to determine what a successful barrister is. Because he has money, or because he knows the law, or because what and what. But everyone agrees that Kulendi was a very successful barrister in all areas. Yes. And hopefully you will be too. I'm sure that you're already getting there. Amen. There was a music that was annoying people today, but we decided to, did I say music? A video that was annoying people today, but we decided to show it anyway. It shows Sedina Tamaklo dancing. I don't know whether it's today.
No, it's an old video, but it's trended.
But people were showing it because it was trending today.
The party.
You can enjoy it, and then from there we go to text messages and Lawyer Balfour will be here. Okay, let's go to API for text messages. What are people saying?
Much Paul. This is coming from E.B. Ofe. He says, the current judiciary is a danger to Ghana's democracy and to the very survival of the Fourth Republic. Corruption is pervasive and nauseating. Gastiman says, I disagree with the assumption that ministers must be appointed from Parliament to perform effectively. There is no scientific evidence that being an MP automatically make someone a better minister. Legislators should focus on lawmaking and representing their constituents, while ministerial appointments should be based on competence, integrity, and experience. Given our economic challenges, a leaner legislature would reduce public expenditure to demonstrate a stronger commitment to fiscal responsibility. Eli Obama from Tamale says, the day Kevin Taylor was brought to Ghana and given state protection by the NDC was a clear indication to many that the government would go to great lengths to protect its members, regardless of the allegations leveled against them. Today, Sedinata Maklo is free, while Chairman Wontumi is imprisoned. Many believe that political affiliation has played a role in these contrasting outcomes, with Sedina being associated with the NDC and Wontumi with the NPP. As the political landscape continues to evolve, members of the NDC should remember that power is temporary. Let us watch closely. Nana Wusu says, congratulations to Lawyer Bafo. He prophesied that Sedina will be cleared and released by the NDC clearing agents and his unanimous FC, and this has surely come to pass. Mohammed Ayuba Tahiru says, Uncle Paul, let us be honest with ourselves. Even with a 4-year term, what are the politicians doing? From what I have seen today and heard from the Attorney General, I can tell that the future is pregnant and ready to give birth to twins. Our country has been sold to politicians. Eric Yeboah says, NDC is just a scam, and they will face the full force of Ghanaians' anger in their next elections. Ibi Ofe says, John Mahama is blessed by God, but is surrounded by his enemies as advisors. One day he will sit back and realize that he missed a good opportunity to be a good and effective president. Raymond Nso says, good evening, Apostle Paul. I'm certainly not disappointed in the Azan NDC government. Who is interfering with the judiciary, John Mahama or someone at the Jubilee House, to free their allies while punishing their opponents? We all know what happened in Agrada's case and how it ended. Martin Pebu has alleged that his petition to remove the OSP has been blocked by the president because some people lobbied him to do so. This government is indeed hypocritical. Sedinata Maklo has been acquitted and discharged, despite claims that she has been convicted of an offense. The oral noises in the public square reserved only for political opponents. And finally, from Imoro Mohammed, Apostle Paul, you are one of the strong-hearted journalists I have ever seen in Ghana. The reason, very simple. Your ability to compose yourself and discuss the state's decision to discharge the former Maslock CEO in what many describe as the kangaroo-like court. Ghanaians would have understood by now that the reset the NDC promised is to set all NDC criminals free from prosecution, while imposing persecution on the NPP members. I cannot tell what will happen when the tables turn. However, many Ghanaians are saying that the future is pregnant. Finally, the NDC is making democracy difficult to practice in Ghana through what many perceive as resetting the judiciary in its favor by curtailing freedom of speech under its government. And this is coming from Alex Tufo. Thank you very much, and over to you, Paul. Should I keep reading? Junior Agba from Tamale says, posterity will judge us all. The NDC will not be in power forever. They should keep that in mind. 2028 is just around the corner, so they can do whatever they want. I've always maintained and submitted that voting the NPP out of power was not punishment. It has simply given us the opportunity to sit back, watch and return to put things in the right place. The NDC will never get away with all the wrong things they are doing now. They should keep that in mind. Sami Boache says, Apostle Paul, why are you still worried about the ruling acquitting and discharging of Sedinata Maklo? As long as Mahama is president, Ghana is bleeding and the future is pregnant. Over to you, Paul.
Okay, thank you very much. We are expecting a phone call to come in through very shortly. A very senior lawyer has called us that he wants to make an intervention, so we are working on getting him on. But in the meantime, Lawyer Bafo will start. Lawyer, good evening. Thank you very much for coming. You have to stay straight and look at me
okay.
like.
Let me look at you.
Yeah, this way.
That's fine.
Okay, you can keep your eye on the screen. Oh, why are you taking it off? Let's have Bafor's stuff over there. They'll put it back. So Lawyer Bafor is making a very interesting allegation. Can you? Yeah. Oh, no. Yeah. Lawyer Bafor is making a very interesting allegation. Tell us, where this red arrow is pointing us to what?
So I've heard so many commentaries that Sedina has been acquitted today at the Court of Appeal.
Please change this. Let's have what we need.
Sedina has been acquitted at the Court of Appeal because the Attorney General at the time, Mr. Dr. Godfrey Adame, didn't do a very good job at the High Court.
Yes.
So
people have said that he couldn't prove any of the 78 charges.
I want to say categorically that that is not correct.
Okay.
So before I get there, let me take your viewers to the very basics of how appeal works. So when you appeal against a decision of a lower court, let's say in this case the High Court, your appeal, the moment you appeal and the records are settled, the registry of the court will agree with you the kind of documents you want to go into the records, ordinarily for civil proceedings. But for criminal, the records are transmitted from the High Court to
the Court of Appeal.
To the Court of Appeal.
What constitutes the record?
So the record will be the evidence that was taken.
So witness statement.
So
PW1 said this, PW2 said this.
Cross-examination.
All of that.
All of that. And then the exhibits that were tendered in support of your testimony. Right? So let's take it out. So the witness statements of the parties. Okay? And then the record of the trial. That is the cross-examination. Because your witness statement is your evidence in chief. And then the cross-examination will be recorded in the course of the proceedings. And so that will be put together as the record, together with the exhibits that were attached to the witness statements or the exhibits that were tendered in the course of cross-examination.
Okay, let's
so that will form part of the record. That will form the record.
All that is a record.
And it is put before the Court of Appeal.
Okay.
At the Court of Appeal, no fresh evidence is taken unless the court gives you leave.
Okay.
And so at the Court of Appeal, they then examine the record from the High Court. And so we say an appeal is by way of rehearing. Rehearing of the record transmitted from the High Court to the Court of Appeal.
So that the Court of Appeal can say that based on this record, the trial judge should not have come to this conclusion.
To this conclusion.
Or based on the record, the trial judge was right in coming to this conclusion.
Exactly.
So it's a trial for the ruling, the judgment.
Of the record.
Yes, okay.
Now, if the court doesn't have the benefit of all the records, the court can say that you did not prove your case.
And but whose work is that? Who's to give the court the benefits of all
so the court is the registrar. But the registrar will do it at the instance of the appellant, the person appealing.
Yes.
In this case, the convict.
Yeah.
And so you facilitate the compilation of the record, because the registrar wouldn't do it on his own volition. If you sit down and say that you are waiting for the registrar to do it, he might not do it.
Okay.
And so you facilitate it, and in the process, you may determine which documents go into the record.
Yeah, which one supports your case?
You may.
Okay, you may.
You may determine it. Now, in this particular case.
Okay, in this particular case. Okay, so let's take it from here, please, Angelo. In this particular
case, when you look at the written submission that was filed by the Attorney General's office, they stated that we wish to bring to the attention of this honorable court that the record of appeal before the court is not complete. We state that all the exhibits tendered by the prosecution during the trial does not form part of the record. And so, for instance, the exhibit, which is exhibit E1.
Okay, well, it says, this is the Attorney General speaking.
This is the Attorney General.
Dominic Ayini's Attorney General.
Dominic Ayini's Attorney.
Okay, it says that we wish to bring to the attention of this honorable court, speaking to the Court of Appeal.
To the Court of Appeal.
That the record of appeal before the court is not complete.
Yes.
we state that all exhibits tendered by the prosecution during the trial does not form part of the record.
Yes.
The only documents found as part of the record are some of the documents which form part of the disclosures done by the prosecution. Be it as it may, we have had to proceed with our submissions relying on notes made by the prosecution as we only became aware of the instant proceedings in this honorable blah, blah, blah. So they are saying that
finish it.
Okay,
finish it.
As this honorable court, after the court had directed the parties to file their written submissions.
So they were there and they were served with, first and foremost, they were not aware of the appeal.
Okay.
Because they had not been served with the appeal. Subsequently, they were served with the requisite processes for them to file their written submission. They went to court and drew the Court of Appeal's attention to the fact that the record was not complete.
Especially from the prosecution side.
The prosecution.
The things that the prosecution used to convict Sedina was not part of the record of the Court of Appeal.
The record of the Court of Appeal.
My goodness.
So they went to the Court of Appeal and informed the Court of Appeal that the record is not complete.
And what did the Court of Appeal do?
And the Court of Appeal insisted that they should go and file their written submission
without the complete
record. Then, at that point, they said that, look, we are out of time. The Court of Appeal then granted them extension of time to file their written submission. And because of the posture of the Court of Appeal, they then decided to add this in there.
Oh, in their submission?
In their submission.
Okay, for the record.
For the record.
That the general public will be aware.
For the general public to be aware.
That they, the prosecution, it should not be said that they did a bad job.
It should not be said that they did a bad job.
But the court sort of did not allow them to have the benefits of all the documents they needed. Anyway, but they are Attorney General's department. Can't they go to the High Court and obtain those records and bring it to the Court of Appeal and say, my lord, here they are?
This is where I disagree with them.
That they could have brought the record.
They should have filed a motion for rectification of the record.
Oh, there's a motion like that?
Yes. Yes, they should have filed a motion at the Court of Appeal for rectification of the record rather than state it in their written submission.
Maybe they were doing the public servants thing. They put in their written submission. It's not their fault.
But
tomorrow, if something happens, it's not their fault.
And so the Court of Appeal's record, based on which today they are saying that the conviction was without basis and that the Attorney General at the time failed to prove his case. They are saying so because they did not have the benefit of the full record.
Does that not make the appeal to the Supreme Court quite straightforward and easy?
It should. However, I wait to see how the Supreme Court is going to, because you see, the Supreme Court would be looking at the record from the Court of Appeal.
Yeah.
And so this should be part of the grounds of appeal.
Yes.
This should be part of the grounds of appeal.
A major one, actually.
A major one. So clearly, somebody constrained the office. That said, the attorneys who handle this matter, I believe that they would have done this country a better service if they had filed an application for rectification of the record. At that point, if the Court of Appeal had refused it, it would have been on record that the record was indeed not complete. And the Court of Appeal denied us because we brought it to their attention. Because if you add it just to the written submission, respectfully, that is not helpful.
But in Justice Ankama's judgment, in the introduction, did he make any reference to this, the fact that prosecution had said so and so, but the courts had proceeded because of that?
No.
He
wouldn't make that. He wouldn't, because you see, when he does that, it also exposes the Court of Appeal, because you must have the full benefit of the record. You must have the full benefit of the record. And so if you say that, you are then acknowledging that you deliver judgment without the full benefit of the record.
Wow, I see. This is an interesting part. I've not heard this anywhere.
Do you understand?
I've not heard this.
So the High Court will convict Sedina on, for instance, the money which she took from Obatampa Savings and Loans, the refund.
Yes.
Because there is a written acknowledgement of receipt, which was tendered at the High Court. because that exhibit is not part of what went to the Court of Appeal, the Court of Appeal would say there is no evidence to support the claim that she took the money.
But why didn't the Court of Appeal respond to this record? Okay, that's where you are saying that the attorney should have actually filed a substantive motion.
A substantive motion to rectify the record.
I see. It's difficult to see where we should apportion blame in this context.
No. So I would distribute the blame between the AG's office and the Court of Appeal.
Okay.
Because I know for a fact that they raised it before the Court of Appeal. However, because the court is a court of record, when you want to bring a matter of such significance to the attention of the court, you do so by motion, so that there is evidence on record. Be that as it may, to the extent that it was also captured in their written submission, I believe that the Court of Appeal should not have glossed over it. And that is why I would distribute the blame between the two parties.
I think we have the call on the line now. Camera. Yeah, thank you. Hello.
Good evening.
Good evening, Lawyer Moses Fuamweni. Thank you very much for watching our program and joining us.
Well, it's been a pretty long time since I found the time to listen to you. And it's good to be watching my learned friend, now a politician, talking very eloquently about these legal matters. It's very exciting to see him talk. I wish he had been this eloquent when his party was in power on certain issues. But, well, the reason why I called has to do with two things. One of it refers to the point that you made about pushing away the hybrid system that we have in our constitution, where ministers of state are appointed from parliament. Now, there is a history behind it, and you provided the history. In 1969, it was because we're coming from a history of Dr. Nkrumah, where so much executive power had been exercised without restraint. So the parliamentary system that we took over was to curtail that excess use of executive power. And that's why you found that there was a split. We had head of state and then a prime minister, so that a prime minister who was subject to parliament. All right. We moved into 79, and as you indicated quite rightly, we said, well, a lot of people complained the budget was thrown out because he was too weak. He was facing lots of challenges in parliament with his MPs and all of that and some of his proposals. So let's give more executive power to the president. And that's why in 79, we had a lot of executive power being given. And then there was, as Professor Kumado, as you know, will say, we went to what we call a strict compartmentalization when it comes to separation of powers. So the executive wouldn't get mixed up with parliamentary matters. But the same problem occurred with Liman as well, because if you remember, Liman's budget was thrown out. Yeah. The Kenke being shown all over the place. So out of that experience, that is why we decided to have a hybrid, so that you will not have a strict compartmentalization when it comes to separation of powers. So I totally disagree with Professor Prempeh. I did share this with him personally, that theologically, he was not right to just throw out the 79 Constitution, because there's so many areas where, because of the consensus and the consensual building aspect of the way the Ghanaian traditional methods in resolving issues, in our chieftaincy system, where there are difficulties, you will find that the Bushapini will get involved, the immediate family will get involved, the extended family will get involved. So when a chief has a problem, it is not a problem for him alone. So you will find that in our constitution, we say that although there's separation of powers, when it comes to the choice of the Chief Justice, the President is involved, Parliament is involved, and the vetting takes place. Don't forget that Parliament are the representatives of the people. So when they get involved, it's like all of us getting involved in it. And so for those who say, oh, we should have strict compartmentalization, I'm saying no. There are situations where, because of the nature of the way politics is done, You need people to get involved to make sure that ultimately what the people want is achieved. So I totally agree with you. Throwing out, ministers being appointed as parliamentarians being appointed as ministers is going to hamper their job. Because when they are in parliament, they understand better the things that are happening. Look, my good friend Iwe, who's standing there, when it comes to the legal professions bill right now, the bill concerning the law school, nobody has gone through it better than him. If one day he becomes the Attorney General and wants to change that where we are positioned, the way that the legal education is now being structured, he'll be in a better position because he has had all the arguments. He was involved in all the debates and knows exactly what went wrong and what didn't go wrong. So I totally agree with you that you can't leave the parliamentarians out in terms of executing on behalf of the people the mandate which has been given to the president. You can't leave them out. So I'm totally with you that it's important that we don't throw away this hybrid. I am right on the money with you. I don't know whether you have any further questions, but then
we want to ask you also about the Court of Appeal decision today to release Natama Klolo. Abafo is just telling us that the record shows that not everything in the High Court was transmitted, but social media and the general public are talking about it, that it looks like it's political. People are unhappy that an NDC person comes with all the drama with the extradition and all of that, and then this is how we end up. Do you have any views on that?
My views, I will summarize it with what Justice Kulendi talked about. That, justice emanates from the people and it's being exercised for and on behalf by the judiciary. The trust of the people, in fact, Article 1 is even stronger. It talks about the principle of we the people, all right? Sovereignty resides in the people, and all the powers of government are supposed to be exercised for and on their behalf. Indeed, there's a new theory that I've pushed out to my students that I call it trusteeship, an agency. It's constitutional trusteeship and agency when it comes to exercising of political power under the Ghanaian constitution. All powers emanate from the people. We choose you. So you're acting for on our behalf. You're not acting on your own. All the powers we delegate to you to use it for on our behalf, and we constitute you into a trustee and also as an agent. So you don't act on your own. Everything you're doing is for and on our behalf. So I'm just indicating that at the end of the day, it's good that the judgment has been given. The High Court, they're going through the legal processes. They went to the Court of Appeal. The Court of Appeal has discharged her and acquitted her, which is serious. It means that you can't hold her again on the same charges. And that's why I like the view that the Attorney General is going to appeal. Because if you let this fall off, then the perception and the trust that people have in the whole judiciary is going to be undermined. And when ordinary people lose trust in the judicial process, and I like my colleague, Buffalo, who just spoke, the video that he showed, when he was warning that is a danger in our political system. And please, politicians should be very, very careful. I keep on telling you, Paul, on the quiet, that this country is teetering on a precipice. There are lots of things that have happened in the previous government that Ghanaians threw away the previous government because they didn't like it. It would be disastrous, and I think the NDC itself noticed it right from the beginning of this government, that Ghanaians, they are like I call them the last of the Mohicans. This is the last opportunity the Ghanaians are giving to our politicians to correct the wrongs. They better not fail. And so if the perception is that all you're doing is to get hold of your political opponents, throw them into prison, and with the other lot, you enter nolli prosequi, you let them go off the hook, and you throw them, you release them from prison, that's a danger to our democracy. But at the same time, we should be very careful to let the legal system run its course. Because I have a lot of trust in the judiciary. I have a lot of problems with the previous things that were happening in terms of the appointment of judges and the circumstances surrounding some of the appointments. I think a lot of people who have some objections to some of the things that were done. Some Court of Appeal judges who should have gone to the Supreme Court, it took them too long. So I just think that this current government should be very careful not to create a perception that there is a movement only towards political openness. That, I think, will be very dangerous for the survival of our democracy. And I think that political actors should be very, very careful, so that it is not only what is wrong, but also what even seems to be wrong. We must not even present the picture that, what is going on looks very dodgy. So to be honest with you, I like the fact that the Attorney General has come in and said, we're going to appeal. And I like the technical analysis that my good friend is giving over there, which means that they realized right from the beginning that there was something wrong. Why they didn't file a motion to stay the processes of the appeal going on and for the correction of the record? Because if the evidence is not available, on what basis was the Court of Appeal going to exercise its appellate jurisdiction? Are you getting me? So, to be fairly honest with you, if these were the issues, I've not read the whole thing, and it's useful that you're pointing these things out. I think the Supreme Court, is properly well constituted. They're very good judges, and I'm sure that they're going to look at all of these things, and then the correct things will be done. But for me, I think the Attorney General has a huge task to ensure that the perception that people have that this is, politics once again, and if it concerns our people, then we're going to free them. If this is on the other side, then we're going to let them into prison. That perception is very dangerous for our democracy forward.
Thank you very much. But my young people in the studio want me to ask you about the LGBT. Parliament has passed a bill. We don't know whether it's still hanging the speaker and all of that. What's the latest on the LGBT bill?
Well, we don't know, which is what the coalition. The way the bill was passed, we had problems. I'm sure my good friend, I know he was very articulate, when the bill was passed and, certain provisions were brought in, the exemptions, to be honest with you, Paul, they don't make much sense because lawyers, by law, we are allowed to defend even criminals. So why do you exempt them? Journalists, all those people were exempted. For me, it was hogwash, and it was a way of covering the exemptions being granted to NGOs and advocacy organizations. That was part of it. All right. So as a coalition, we've written to Parliament, we've indicated our own view, we've also written to the President and indicated that those provisions should be expunged. I think that is why there's a bit of a hold-up. I don't know whether it will be put on the President's table and he will refer back to Parliament with his own comments, or he's going to sign it as it is. If he does so, to be honest with you, as I said, as a coalition, we've expressed our own opinions. It is not right to pass it with those exemptions. The other thing which was left out, which I think is very useful, is our insistence that to give it a policy balance, you need provisions covering what we call care, treatment, and support for those who have those challenges. It is very important because otherwise, all you're doing is you catch the person, he's engaged in it. You're not looking at why he's engaged in it, and you're throwing him into prison. So, as a coalition, we want the provisions that were originally part of it, where there was care, treatment, and support. Those ones to be restored. But you see, Paul, there's another thing in respect of the Constitutional Review Committee's report that I think the Attorney General spoke about today. There were provisions about some intersex and other LGBT-oriented rights that were pushed in by my good friend Professor Prempeh. And we objected to it. We wrote a paper to Parliament. We also wrote a paper to the President. I want to hear the Attorney General's view in respect of those provisions that were sneaked in by Professor Prempeh, which are LGBT plus oriented. Plus the fact that we indicated that we wanted a clear provision in our Constitution stating that LGBTQ plus matters, so whatever sort of a name they are called, are prohibited. And but we want to give care, treatment, and support for those who need it. We actually recommended that those be inserted in our Constitution. And the good thing, Paul, is that currently, but yesterday, the Polish Constitutional Court ruled that an EU attempt to superimpose LGBT same-sex marriages on the Polish Constitution, they threw it out. So if Ghana puts these things clearly in our Constitution, we will be doing the right things. I hope that my good friend, Bafo, who's standing beside you, will support the coalition when it comes to some of these matters.
Thank you very much, Moses. Thank you so much for your time. And that was lawyer Moses Fuamoni, our big brother and advisor and counselor. How do you wrap up, lawyer?
So one, Sedinat Tamaklo has been acquitted because of poor work by the Attorney General's office. I want to state it categorically. Mm-hmm. If the exhibits that form the basis for the conviction of Sedinat Tamaklo at the High Court does not get transmitted to the Court of Appeal, definitely Sedinat will be acquitted. And it is obvious that they knew about it and that they should have filed a motion to rectify the record, and they failed to file a motion to rectify the record. And so the Court of Appeal did not have benefits of key exhibits that form the basis of the conviction.
You will urge the Attorney General to correct this during the appeal?
I doubt whether the Attorney General is keen about this case.
About the Supreme Court appeal?
Look,
but he's speaking about it.
This whole thing is orchestrated. You don't have time.
But he's spoken about it.
Paul, it's because of the public anger. It was because of the public anger.
But he came in quite quickly. And it wasn't up to 1 o'clock. It was earlier that his attention has been drawn to the decision.
For what?
He was going to appeal against it.
No, it was because of the public backlash. Mm-hmm. And that he was applying for stay of execution. Stay of execution in a criminal matter.
It's not done?
No.
Why? How?
Stay of execution is in respect of civil processes where an order has been given or a judgment has been given.
Okay. If a stay were to be given, Ms. Sedinat has to go to jail.
Yes.
If you want to really stay.
Yes.
Okay.
No, it doesn't happen.
Okay.
Otherwise,
but was that in the documents that he's applying for a stay of execution?
Yeah. Otherwise, would have filed one for Chairman Wontumi to be out whilst the appeal processes are ongoing. It is incorrect. Paul, the record that was before the Court of Appeal did not have the benefit or did not contain key exhibits that form the basis of the High Court decision.
Well,
it is obvious from this record.
Yeah, it's a straightforward.
That the Attorney General was aware. The proper procedure was to have applied to rectify the record. Nobody should blame Godfrey Dame for this. It is solely on the head of Dr. Dominic Ayeni. He alone knows why. The circumstance of the appeal is questionable. The circumstance of the appeal is questionable, right? And as I said in that video, Sedinat had been given assurances. That is why she abandoned her fight against the extradition processes that had been initiated by Godfrey Dame before he left office, and decided to return home only after the NDC came into power. She had been fighting the extradition processes that had been initiated.
And then suddenly she stopped fighting.
Suddenly she stopped fighting. And she came home. When she came home, it wasn't until after 15 days that she was admitted into prison custody. And that was because there had been a lot of public pressure, particularly from the minority. And then she was assured that she will be out very soon. And indeed, she's out. How did she get out? She got out because the key evidence, key exhibits that formed the basis of the High Court decision had been omitted from the record that was put before the High Court, that was put before the Court of Appeal. And that is why Sedinat is out. Who omitted to make that available to the Court of Appeal? The Attorney General. It's the Attorney General. Yeah. So you cannot come and turn around when you knew that this was the problem, and then you put your head on the chopping box to be chopped, and now you turn around and say, I'm going to file appeal to the Supreme Court. I'm going to apply for stay of execution. You see?
I get it. Okay, just before we wrap it up, let's go to Ikea for a final round of text messages. Ikea, what are people saying?
Thank you so much. This is coming from General E.L. Coleman. He says, when a conviction is overturned because the charges were not proved beyond a reasonable doubt, it raises concerns about the quality of the investigation, the preparation of the case, and the presentation of evidence. A criminal case is not won by allegations or public opinion. It is won by credible evidence that proves guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. Nanaya Okumi also says, under the Mahama government. TikTokers and social media commentators are being arrested, prosecuted and jailed for allegedly abusing freedom of speech. Ironically, people accused of stealing from the state are being acquitted and discharged. Ghana is bleeding. God save us. Master Planner Junior Kintampo says, we are simply documenting the events and dates of everything that is happening. President Mahama and the NDC should know that Omwechi Guho, just give some time. Greetings to Commander Chris Nana Lloyd, the incoming NPP National Youth Organizer. Eli Obama from Tamale, he says, good evening, Mr. Paul. Please extend my warmest greetings to my boss, Mr. Bafwewa, and let him know that the youth of Tamale are proud of him for his exceptional service to both the party and Mother Ghana. We deeply appreciate his dedication and commitment. Chris Edu says, good evening, Paul. Why are some of you shocked by this verdict? The whole process was planned long ago and now it is being executed. If you live in a country where those who are supposed to be neutral are thinking only about their stomachs and targeting only individuals for their survival, this is what we will see as a country. God have mercy on us. Finally, coming from Sami Boachi, he says, Apostle Paul, why are we worried about the ruling acquitting and discharging of Sedinam Tamaklu? As long as Mahama is president, Ghana is bleeding and the future is pregnant. Over to you, Paul.
That's it for the show. Thank you very much, Sula Abafo, and thank you to Kwekwa Preku. We will be back on Tuesday, but we have a lot of videos to share with you at the weekend. Keep your eye on our Facebook page, Good Evening Ghana Official. Keep your eye on our Instagram page and on Twitter. I'll be chatting people up. This weekend promises to be a big weekend of conversation. Thanks for watching. Good night.
The first time I reviewed the documents personally, when the copies were made for us to have a look at it by the Attorney General and to have a conference to discuss the details, I actually cringed. I couldn't believe it. The facts were like they were concocted, to be very honest with you. The facts were like they were concocted. Because this was not just stealing, but as to borrow a word from Dog, naked thievery. You know, in one of the charges, Samson, do you know what happened? The boss of Maslock decided to give a loan to a rural bank. And they did not even reach any agreement. Yet the money was transferred to the rural bank. When the money got to the account of the rural bank, the people then asked, okay, so what is the interest rate of the money you have sent to us? Imagine something that you should have done earlier was not even done. Then the interest rate was then quoted by Sedinam. When the interest rate was quoted, the rural bank management said, look, the interest rate you have quoted, if we pick this money, we cannot make any money out of it, so we want to return it to you. What do? Good corporate practice. You write to them and give your account, Maslock account. Then they pay the money directly into the account and produce receipt for accountability purposes. You know what she said? She directed them to cash the money and bring it to Accra. And then they cashed the money in the Ghana Must Go, carried it to Accra. They met at Bachona filling station, Total filling station, and the money was packed into her boot and she drove away. And that ended it. She's been convicted of that particular charge.
So
then the second one.
Yes.
I'm giving you, I'm just itemizing them because I have the facts. I don't need to even read anything. The second one, they were supposed to do some nationwide sensitization workshops for some category of persons with respect to matters like this. The money was about 2 million Ghana cedis. Less than 5% was used for the intended purpose. The rest was shared. As if it was ground nuts. Look, there was a fire disaster in one of the markets. Some money was allocated to help the victims. Just a little percentage of it was used. The rest, they shared it. There were some phones they had to buy. One on the market, 100 cedis. The prices they quoted, 400 each. Clearly, some vehicles were procured. In fact, those vehicles even delayed the trial because we had finished all the charges and then we bumped on a report which indicated that vehicles had been bought, some of them at thrice the market price. Some are thrice the market price. Some are twice the market price. We had to amend our charges to include all these. And remember that they were found guilty of over 70 charges. All of them.
78.
Yes. In fact, it is one of the most nauseating cases I have come across in legal prosecution. Because the act of impunity, naked thievery and robbery perpetuated by them was frightening. And you see, when the judgment was read, I posted something on my social media handle. I indicated that it was not a moment for anybody to celebrate. It was not a moment for anybody to be joyous, but for us all to have a sober reflection.
In fact, Tua Yeboah, Afre Tua Yeboah, has been saying, all those in office now, take a cue.
That's what I'm just coming to say. You see, you have to be very, very careful. Day of accountability will come. And when it comes, you will be in that dock alone. And the wheels of justice may grind slowly, but in the end, when the pronouncement is made and you are taken away to Insawam, you would come to the realization that acts of impunity cannot go unpunished and go forever. If you look at the conduct of even the principal person, which even made Justice Sefia Sewa very angry. I mean, that the state didn't take enough steps or action to be able to have her in Ghana to face trial. Because clearly whatever she did it in order to evade conviction. That was why they had to try her in absentia in line with the constitutional principle and dictate. But I'm saying this again, that those in office now ought to take a cue from this. And this is the third time, and all those cases passed through my hand anyway, as Deputy Attorney General in charge of criminal prosecution. This is the third case of a very nauseating nature. The first one was NCA. At a point in time, some money was shared like groundnuts, and they secured conviction. Then this one. And the third one, you remember, venture capital. You remember venture capital? In that particular case, they had to take advantage of Section 35 of the Courts Act. And then they did a plea bargain. They were convicted, and then they went ahead to pay. If you look at a combination of these cases and the convictions that have been secured, and then at least the amounts of money involved and etc., a lot would have been saved to this nation. But as I have stated time and again, those in office now ought to take a clue from this. And I thank my brother Tua Yeboah for the statement he has made. They have to take a cue. Because it is very, very, very juicy.
Initially, the court,
to dip your hand in there and fetch.
Initially, the court, there were people who were very critical about the court, that it was not being sympathetic, she was not well, she needed bail to be able, she needed the opportunity to travel, take care of herself. And this was like a media trial. And eventually the court had to succumb and say, well, go and take care of yourself and come. And she goes, she doesn't come.
She doesn't come.
The question Ghanaians are asking now is this judgment as empty as the paper?
Well, something, remember that even at the initial stages, I thought that there was going to be another step that would have been taken, an international collaboration to get her brought back for face justice.
We're told
but if you try that, you know, most of the countries up there, they will think there is political persecution, and so they will not allow it. They will even extradite the person. But now that we have secured conviction, the person is a convict, and you have to come and serve your sentence. So what they now need to do is to collaborate with the U.S. authorities and the anti-corruption agencies there to ensure that the person is extradited to come and serve the term.